when the facts get twisted and the lies stack tall. My red, white, and blue heart starts at answering the call. Question everything. Don't swallow the lies they try to sell. 'Cause sometimes logic fails and it drags this nation straight to hell. Conspiracy analysts digging for the truth they try to hide. We the people stand together with our hands on hearts and full of pride. This is my home, my blood, my heritage, my sacred ground. My country's not for sale, and we'll never back down.
What is up? What is up, folks? How is everybody doing this morning? Good to see each and every one of y'all here. Sorry again for being late. My goodness, I can't win for losing. Just as soon as I get that algorithm working for me real good, I go and screw it up. So anyway, it is what it is. Life happens. I had to carry I got a 16-year-old, and he, of course, is too good to ride the bus. And so he's got a buddy that he rides with in the mornings. And this morning his buddy couldn't take him, and didn't find out till pretty late. So anyway, I got him there, got back. So we're good to go finally. I'm sorry about the sudden venue change. I hope everybody's all right with that. I had forgot about this discussion. I have not got to see it all the way through. What I can say is every amount of shit that Gary catches is so well deserved. And I think this right here really, really demonstrates that. No matter which side of the argument you fall on, most people are still reasonable about it. Gary Melton is not reasonable about it at all, in any way, in any sense of, the term or word reasonable. And, right behind him, I his little protege, I'm saying is Viva, another person that I used to like. Not everybody here obviously is on our side of things or looks at things the way we do, but for one, Bucky Carlson's the man. I just want to say that first. But then, like I said, even the ones that don't agree, they're pretty reasonable, except for Gary and Viva. And I don't know if y'all are familiar with Alex Stein or not, but I really want y'all to pay attention to Alex. I like Alex. I think Alex is struggling with something. I think he's I think he's waking up to certain things and trying to look at things a certain way, but at the same time trying not to. Like, no. And I think he's got a fight going on internally. Now, I may be reading way too much into it, but it seems like it to me. So anyway, let's see who we got here real quick before we fire this thing up. And we will finish the Jimmy Dore and Brett Weinstein thing. I guess we might just do it tomorrow, unless something groundbreaking comes up, because I do have a couple Barron clips that I want to go back over. So we got Kez in the house. Good morning, Keza. What's up? Good morning, good evening, depending on where you at. Got Cryptic in the house. What's up, Cryptic? Good to see you. Captain, what's up, Captain? Got Kelly. Awesome. Good to see you, Kelly. And let's see who else we got here. We got Heather P. What's up, Heather P? Good to see you, as always. I see y'all are already on the likes. Thank y'all. I really appreciate that. Y'all give them hell. Let's see. Who else we got? Got Golden Cat. What's up, Golden Cat? Good to see you. And Unreal Father. Good to see you. Good morning to you. Always a pleasure. And let's see. Anybody else in here? Do scroll fast. Gotta scroll fast. Let's see. Got the same ones a lot, which is good. I love the engagement. I just don't want to miss anybody. Good morning, Jax. What's up, buddy? Good to see you here. Yes, he has risen. That is the truth, Jax. That's the God's honest truth. Good morning, Pam Armstrong. Good to see you in here this morning. Always good to see you. And let's see. We got Rick. What's up, Rick? Awesome seeing you here. Cooking dinner. And I tell you what, I just can't get used to that. Nosy Google, what's up? You found your way back. Good to see you. Let's see. Who else we got? Trying to get to the bottom. Hey, Pam Armstrong, thank you very much for the 10 jewels. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's see, did I get to the bottom? Oop, I got to the bottom. All right, guys, we'll get started. As always, we'll catch them as they come in, and let's fire this bad boy up, and let's see what we got here. It is I got my thoughts. Y'all will hear them along the way. To me, did it change hearts and minds? Probably not. But I think that it really really shows who's on what side and how who is out there in good faith having these conversations and who's not. I think it's very telling in a way. Like I said, did it change hearts and minds? Did it sway the public in one direction or the other as to whether it was Tyler or not? No, probably not. Did any of these people walk away with a different outlook? No, probably not. But I think it still is. I think it's still very telling. Scary. Let's see. Where did I just scroll past? Oh, hey, Cotton. What's up? What's up? Good to see you here again. Good to see you here. Welcome, welcome. We got Donna back in. Good to see you, Donna. Good to see you. Good morning to you. All right, here we go. Without further ado, let's get. And Jay Boogie. What's up? What's up? What's up? And Brett Booth. What's up, Brett? Good to see you. The man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, I can always be a little entertaining. All right, guys, here we go. Whoops. I still got it set fast we don't want to listen to it that fast. Playback speed on 2. No. Okay. Now let's try it.
But you're monetizing his debt too, and I mean
the thing with Candace is, and I don't know what her intent is. I don't know what's in her mind. I don't know if it's displaced grief. I don't know if it's anger. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter.
Could be genuine concern.
It could be genuine
Actually,
concern.
it could be.
I don't know her
genuine
personally, so I don't know what
total
her
discuss
mind is, and I'm
the
not
level
going to
of.
know.
If Israel was directly involved, not with an explosion.
I was not that familiar with Bucky Carlson, by the way, y'all, until here recently. I mean, I knew he existed. Obviously, I'd heard Tucker mention him before. But I tell you what, I've turned into quite the Bucky fan. He's something else. And as connected as Tucker is, I feel like Buckley may be even more connected. He's been into a lot of stuff, but yeah, I like him.
Microphone, but it's just whoever shot the shot was an Israeli agent. He hopped on a plane 5 minutes later out of Orem and shot off, never to be seen again. What evidence do you think the American government would provide to the American people about that?
Well, typically a spouse is looked into.
What's that?
Typically a spouse, if there's a murder.
That's actually not true. Hold on, I want to finish this point before.
I just want to say that.
Oh, that's actually not true. God, he's known for it. Like it's his trademark.
No, that's typically not true, by the way.
By the way, typically not true. You can see the color in his face starting to match his beard.
But I don't believe the FBI when they say, yeah, we've investigated everybody in the Discord chats and there was nothing bizarre going on there. And then George Zinn just happens to be there, happens to take credit for the shooting.
This commercialization of questioning the narrative is feeding a monster, and people have profited off that. And I think, the amount of money that's been made off of it is totally out of proportion.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Totally out of proportion.
And we don't ever have
a justice in the situation, that's going to radicalize a lot of young people. That's gonna be the worst outcome, and I'm worried about that.
That's going to happen either way, and that's honestly my biggest concern.
But I think they could be using her as a pawn to divide us, because that's really, at the end of the day, I'm saying that's a conspiracy. They want us fighting each other like this, right? And then it ruins a movement.
One group of people I think already has been radicalized. This is probably, in my lifetime, the next example since OJ where a crime has become a team sport. People have already made up their minds before the trial. So we're in Dallas this weekend shooting 4 different debates. Got a really amazing group of people together, mostly conservative people. A lot of what we're talking about right now is the divide that's going on in the conservative movement, but I wanted to kind of get you guys together sort of after hours, which is what's happening right now, and have a discussion about what happened to Charlie Kirk. Because obviously this is something that's being talked about day in and day out on the internet.
Uncle Buck.
All across the spectrum, people are suggesting one thing, other people are suggesting another thing. It's kind of tearing us apart, but I think there's a lot to talk about. And I wanted to get some of the, I think, best minds in the movement here together and just have a conversation and see what you guys think. And Alex,
Well, what the hell were they thinking? And when he decided to get the best minds in the movement together, what the hell was he thinking when he called Gary Melton? My goodness.
will you kind of repeat what you said
Yet, he just discredited himself and the whole damn thing right off the bat.
before about us wanting to talk about this?
Well, to me, I was personal friends with Charlie, and I think it is important that we talk about this. I think Charlie would investigate his own murder. Now, there's a lot of conspiracies out there, and I'm a conspiracy theorist, and this is the one conspiracy that I really don't jive with, because I don't think that when it comes to the evidence that they've shown, that exploding microphones and this and Erica and yada, 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 if I was really using Occam's razor, I do think the simplest, outcome was that he was shot. Was it Tyler? Was, Lance Hughes involved? It's a very difficult conversation to have. And
Occam's razor is a really good rule to use, and it applies in most situations. I would say the one time when you can't just default to Occam's razor is when we're talking about the public dispatch of an extremely, not only polarizing, but an extremely prolific and political figure. And not only political in the normal sense of it, but as in got the ear of the youth, has the most sway when it comes to today's youth, or at least a hell of a sway. I think in those particular situations, and also when outcomes, depending on what happens, doesn't happen, also affects not only regular people, but at the nation state level. I think that's one time when you can't just necessarily blindly default back to Occam's razor. I mean, it is what it is. Most of the time, yes, I believe in Occam's razor, but sometimes, you got to go a little deeper.
it's one that I've avoided. It's one that, not trying to call Buckley out, but his brother, Tucker, has really not gone and dived deep into, only because we're personally involved in this, right? And I'm personally involved. Now, Gary, Paramount, not so tactical, as Candace was saying, I'm not even saying that as a dig. He's been personally attacked by it, but I actually agree with some of the stuff that he said. I don't maybe agree with 100% of it, but I think it's an important conversation to have, because I think this is the conversation that Charlie would have, because he went to every single college campus and would talk to people that he doesn't agree with, and I think that is what he would do, is he would have these tough conversations.
Well, so where do you stand on it? I'm a little confused.
Well, personally, I do think that he was...
What's up, Tina?
I get choked up. I do think that Charlie was shot. I know and spoken to multiple people there, over 10 people, and one of the people that I talked to wasn't even a huge Charlie Kirk fan. He didn't think Charlie...
So just to clarify, I don't necessarily think he was air quote shot, but I think he definitely was hit by a projectile. So, if you use the term shot loosely, he may be more on our side than he realizes.
Kirk was far right enough. And this guy,
what's
if he
up,
told me
Maker
that he heard an
Marks?
exploding microphone, I believe that he would have told me the truth. And he said that he heard a gunshot. So was it Tyler Robinson? Was he on the Losu rooftop? Was that him with the gun? I don't know. Some of the footage that I saw wasn't in 4K, like, a lot of these influencers said. But I do think that I've watched that video over and over. I do think Charlie was shot. And was it the CIA? Was it Mossad? I would argue this, if you want my personal opinion, if it was Israel, then that means Israel, they just did the whatever Bill 119 or whatever it was.
Go get him, Jay Boogie. Yes, and look, even though this is just now getting into it, listen to what Alex is talking about. He's talking about this bill that's been so controversial. What do we think Charlie Kirk would have thought of this? What do we think Charlie Kirk would have said about this?
Where the CIA and Mossad are basically, working together. So that would mean that America was involved in it too.
So he just kind of glazed over that. That wasn't the point he was trying to make. And I don't know that he necessarily avoided what I'm about to say, but, what would Charlie have thought about that? And what would Charlie have said? again, one of the big things when it comes to an investigation like this is motive. As much as Gary and Viva and some of these others try to discount motive, everywhere you look, there is one group of people that would have did benefit the most from Charlie Kirk no longer being with us. And I think we all know who that is. But yeah, I don't care. I don't care what any of these people say. Motive is always a huge factor. And they always want to they always want to say, well, okay, yes, consider motive, to come up with suspects. But then before you go to making accusations or going too far down the road, you have to have physical proof of some type of action that they've committed. No. Actually, we shouldn't have to be doing this anyway. That is why we have government. That's why we have, police. That's why we have law enforcement. They should do their job and they should look into this. The only reason we're doing it now is because they refuse to. So, anyway, I think he totally glazed right over that one, whether it was intentional or not.
I just don't know if I can take that leap that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance would actually kill Charlie Kirk. But at the same exact time, Charlie Kirk was the most powerful young political figure in America. And I look at JFK, I look at Martin Luther King. There's a lot of weird stuff surrounding that. And I think there's a lot of similarities with Charlie Kirk's death.
There's a difference. People often use that line like Charlie Kirk would have wanted to investigate Charlie Kirk's death. Absolutely. Everyone on earth would want their own murder to be investigated.
I would.
I don't think Charlie Kirk would have wanted this to turn into the media circus true crime.
And I don't think Erica Kirk had anything to do with her husband's death. I
So appreciate that. Like people saying we're just asking questions versus turning it into an outright spectacle. There's a fine line that's not quite so fine. And so like Charlie Kirk would want people to investigate.
And again, Alex believes that. And you know what? That may very well be the case. All I've ever said from the get-go is, yes, is there a chance that she had some foreknowledge? There's a chance. There's a possibility, obviously. Do I think she is necessarily smart enough to plan this thing start to finish? No. Do I think she actually physically did it? No. But, if, in fact, she was placed in his life for a particular reason, for a particular end result, and to possibly take over in his absence, MK Ultra is a real thing. It could explain a lot. She could be placed there and neither one of them really know. And I'm not trying to get all crazy this morning, but I mean, I'm just saying, there's more there than just, I don't think she killed him. Okay, no shit.
Investigate his death, would that mean entertaining theories that Charlie Kirk's not actually dead? I mean, then why have a murder trial? And so there's a fine line between asking questions, positing speculative hypotheses, and turning this into the circus that has been turned into for massive profits, massive followings growing, that it has been turned into over the last year. And asking questions and pursuing speculative, unsubstantiated hypotheses that make it actually harder to get to the actual truth and might result in the actual murderer getting off. And so, that line has been blurred. People want to justify their own morality or lack thereof to say, Charlie would have wanted us to investigate it. I don't think Charlie would have wanted a 20-part miniseries on the bride of Charlie from a disgruntled employee who's put out...
Disgruntled employee. Now, I want you to listen. This guy, Alex Stein, single-handedly, whether he meant to or not, completely discredited, called him a liar in not those exact words. Andrew Colvett, Blake Neff, he just nuked all of them. Anybody, especially that's been following X, knows that Andrew Colvett's been on a run here lately. You weren't friends. You had no. I will betting her, trying to get her to show something within the last. Anywhere from 12 to 24 months, any kind of text message or anything to prove that her and Charlie were still in contact and that they were still friends. The story is Charlie didn't like her. Charlie couldn't stand her, was scared of her, and just kind of managed her to keep her from getting on her bad side, so she didn't go full ham on him and his company. Alex Stein just blows this out of the water, and I don't even really think he means to.
Misinformation after misinformation that gets disproven.
He will be quoted over and over and over again when this topic comes up now in the future.
The goalposts move, and the defense is, I'm just asking questions, and when I have to revise my unsubstantiated and untenable theories, well, it's only because new information came in, then don't come to speculative conclusions in the absence of any proof.
But Viva, let me say this one thing, because I am personally involved at Turning Point. A lot of the ideas that people have heard is that Charlie hated Candace. Well, Candace spoke at the Women's Leadership Summit in 2025. So that was basically a year ago from about last month. So Charlie was not on the outs with Candace. They might not have been, best friends as they were when they were doing the Kanye stuff and they were building Turning Point. And I think a lot of the motivation that Candace
Take that, Andrew Colvett. Take that, Blake fucking Sneff.
has is, of course, she's getting a lot of views. I would just say this to Candace's face. She is jealous because she was there doing all of the work with
And then, he just, then he ruins it.
Charlie. And now she looks at Erica Kirk as running the world's biggest political organization. I think it's bigger than CPAC. I think it's the biggest political organization. And I think there is some jealousy there. So I think that's part of her motivation to go after Erica. But at the same exact time, there's stuff surrounding his death that make me go, it doesn't make sense. So that's why I think it's important to have these conversations.
Jealous. All right. Those that believe that she is jealous have to be under the impression that she was literally fired, kicked out of there on her ass and on the outs. She left. Had she stayed there, she probably would have been his successor. Jealous? She married a multimillionaire that is, part of a billionaire family. That's a lord over there in, the UK. But she makes a killing. She does her thing and she's good at it and has done extremely well for herself. And then Charlie ran Turning Point, and by so doing, recently was taken off the board. What is there to be jealous of? Oh yeah, I wish that I could, go do this and put my life in danger. And I mean, it's asinine. It's the dumbest argument ever. She could probably be there right now if she had stuck around. But guess what? She had other plans. The jealousy thing to me is a non-starter, non-argument.
It's not because I want to taint the jury, but I want to know the truth. And that's why I'm frustrated with it, because a guy that did me a lot of favors, he very easily could have fired me from Turning Point multiple times and always had my back. And a guy that is, to me, like I said, no disrespect to Tucker, no disrespect to Candace, no disrespect to Nick Fuentes, but that's the argument. Oh, why don't they take out those people? Charlie Kirk was much more powerful than them. Charlie Kirk had the gift of gab. He was brilliant. He was just so much more powerful than your average political figure like Candace, or no offense, Tucker. And so when you take out a person like that, there's a reason for that. And I do kind of wrestle in my mind. I'm like, was it just a guy because he's with a furry and this and that? And all the evidence that I see, it kind of points me to that. But I'm just still in this mode where I don't think Candace is 100% right. But I don't think it's bad that she's investigating Charlie's death, because I do think that that's what he would want.
Conflicted if you sum this guy up in one word.
Yeah, I don't think that. I
Yeah,
think
maybe.
It's bad that she's
He doesn't want to believe what he's starting to believe.
investigating it, and I don't get the
But
perception that
I respect the hell out of him. And by the time this is over, I respect him even more than I ever have.
it's based on jealousy. Now, I don't want the whole thing, I guess, to be focused on, is Candace right or wrong? I think the broader, more important, like what we're saying, right, is there substantial evidence right now, yes or no? Do we have full trust in our institutions to do the right thing or to not do the right thing? I don't think there's a strong trust in our institutions, and that heavily is derived by public opinion and what we're seeing now, where people maybe are very dissatisfied, whether they do watch Candace or not, whether they do agree with the Turning Point family or the new faces, I guess you would say.
Good point. Maker marks. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, no matter what, all avenues were, used, incorporated, whatever, and which ones actually, did the final act. I think that the decision was made that in no way, no chance in hell that this man walks out of that campus and out of Utah. I think that was the decision, and I think that they said at all cost, by whatever means necessary, he is not to leave that place on his feet.
Of the individual sitting in Charlie Kirk's studio every single
What's up,
show,
Internet
which I
Complaint
think people feel very
Department?
uncomfortable about, and maybe some people don't, right? Like, that's true, and that's all fair
What's
to
up,
say.
Carrie?
I hate that we're in a place where if we do say that, because clearly I do find it quite odd. that there's somehow we're painting the picture of like, me, we, whoever's disagreeing with whoever, is this evil, ugly person that just can't see straight. Because I don't think that's that. I think that
Well,
there's
let me clarify one
level-
thing, Gary, before you go. Maybe it's not even that Candace is jealous, but let's just say in a vacuum that Charlie and Candace.
Thank you, Alex. McDonnie, why is Viva so emotional on this topic? I've wondered that myself, but I wonder if a lot of it isn't just as simple as, he's Canadian. I'm not sure where his immigration status stands. I don't know if he's full on American citizen yet. I think maybe he is, but I kind of feel like the reason why he came down here, moved down here, was, I think a lot of it was the Trump administration. I think that, and he's always been a really, really huge supporter of Trump, which, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I was too. But I wonder if he packed up, he moved, took his whole life pretty much and moved it down here, and a lot to do with the Trump administration. And now he's just having a hard time coming to terms with, things aren't what they appear to be. I don't know. I've wondered that. I have no clue. Y'all let me know what y'all think.
We're best friends when this happened. Candace would be the rightful heir to the throne. Candace is one of the most, brilliant young people. She's a great communicator. If they had no beef, if she wouldn't have gone anti-Israel, whatever it was that made her basically a little disconnected from Turning Point, Erica could still be the CEO. But I think that if you look at the likelihood of who would be the face of Turning Point USA, who could actually pick up the football from Charlie, the only person, in my opinion, that could actually do it to the level that Charlie does it would be Candace. And so it's not even that she's jealous.
Oh, I didn't have my button ready. What about that, guys? What about that,
But she sees something that she's built and that she sees another person running in. So that.
Oops. Sorry. I hear that again. I'll do it right this time.
If they had no beef, if she wouldn't have gone anti-Israel, whatever it was that made her basically a little disconnected from Turning Point, Erica could still be the CEO. But I think that if you look at the likelihood of who would be the face of Turning Point USA, who could actually pick up the football from Charlie, the only person, in my opinion, that could actually do it to the level that Charlie does it would be Candace. And so it's not even that she's jealous, but she sees something that she's built and that she sees another person running in. So I think that's why she's been attacking Erica. So I just want to clarify. Maybe it's not jealousy, but I just think that she feels jaded that she's not carrying on Charlie's legacy as the leader of Turning Point, considering she built up with him, with Kanye, and just through the years.
Well, I mean, she was there.
You don't think with them being in crisis mode right now, because they are in crisis mode, I can promise you that. I should have loaded it so I could show it, but Cryptic had sent me a graph showing the financial part of Turning Point, and trust me, they are, tailspin is just doesn't even hardly describe it. You don't think being in crisis mode like they are, that no matter what has been said, that they wouldn't water under the bridge it if she was to come, quietly behind the scenes and try to work something out where she could go out and be the face, even if Erica was the CEO. Now, would that ever happen? I don't believe it would. I'm just saying, if Candace was to quietly, in private, go say, hey, look, I'm going to help you save the place. I'll be the face of it. Let's just move forward. They would snatch her up and put her out there in a heartbeat. I mean, they've got fucking Andrew Wilson out there in front of folks. I can guarantee you Candace would be out there if she wanted to be.
Total 17 months. I don't know how much you can attribute to what she has done. But with that being said, I mean, there's nothing wrong.
Charlie was close with Candace.
There's nothing wrong with speculating about
Gary,
what could.
Gary. Sorry,
she's not carrying on Charlie's legacy as the leader of Turning Point, considering she built up with him, with Kanye, and just through the years.
Well, I mean, she was there a total of 17 months. I don't know how much you can attribute to what.
So he's arguing with, somebody that actually has worked with Turning Point. Now, do I think he's working with Turning Point? Maybe off the books. He is in some ways anyway. But regardless, he's arguing with somebody that knew Charlie well, knew Candace well, is still involved and, basically on the payroll of Turning Point. He's going to argue that, the statement he just made about Candace building this up with Charlie is incorrect. Like, this dude here he's a fucking joke.
What she has done. But with that being said, I mean, there's nothing wrong.
Charlie was close with Candace.
You saw? Mm-hmm. Alex knows. And he's probably tired of hearing the bullshit, especially the spokesperson for TPUSA and Blake Sneff, the little bald Poindexter that gets on his show, still called the Charlie Kirk Show every day, and run their mouth and talk about how Charlie and Candace weren't friends and that she didn't have anything to do with anything and that this was all Charlie, blah, 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 blah.
There's nothing wrong
I guarantee you he's getting tired of hearing it.
with speculating about what could happen, what did happen, and all those other things. The problem that is morally, ethically, and what I find quite frankly repulsive is when you
This guy's going to mention morals and ethics. I'm sorry. I'll quit pausing it, guys.
go into speculation where you're using imagination to fill in gaps, and that includes accusing his wife of killing Charlie Kirk or being involved in either the actual conspiracy to kill him or the cover-up to kill him. And by the way, a lot of other people tangentially around that. And I think that's where I find like the line is crossed. It's disgusting. And on top of that, just like we talked about a minute ago, where it's like now you do a multi-part series, not only are you accusing Erica Kirk of through implication, it is accusation through implication, not only of killing Charlie Kirk or being involved in
Well, she didn't say that she shot him. I think she said that he
Agreed.
had
Exactly. Walk it back, Gary. Again, this is the turning point guy. And this goes on throughout. Alex Stein, I'm telling you, he's gained my respect. He may not believe, he may not believe like I do exactly. He may not be fully on this side, but the guy has got morals, obviously, and the guy knows what's up. And I'd say if he spends any amount of time on X, he knows that that guy is a piece of shit. That guy.
prior knowledge.
Like she had prior knowledge, which by the way is a crime. Also covering up is also a crime, and just being the fact that she's involved in his death, like that's disgusting. But then on top of that,
Well,
now,
typically a spouse
now-
is looked into.
What's that?
Typically a spouse, if there is a murder,
That's actually not true.
That's actually not true. That's actually not true, he says. This dude is a absolute, I don't want to go, he is a piece of shit. He's a lying jackass. Like everybody knows. Just Google it. I forget, between 60 and 80% of the time, it is a spouse. Maybe it was just 60%. I don't know. But to argue that in front of God and everybody on the internet, to say that is not true, that they don't always look at the spouse, is just blatant bullshit. That right there should tell you everything you need to know about Gary Melton. He is not an honest actor. He's a lying piece of shit.
Hold on, I want to finish this point before.
I just want to say that.
No,
Oh, of course he does. He always wants to finish his point.
Sure.
that's typically not true, by the way. Not when you have what we have in place. When she's not even there and there's no evidence involved with that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wives never pay somebody to kill their husband. Nope. You're right, Gary. You're right. Look, I don't know about him. I've watched a bunch of First 48. I've watched a bunch of ID Channel. And plus, I also know people that are in law enforcement and have been in law enforcement. Yeah, just because they, air quotes, have their shooter, their alleged shooter, their alleged, perpetrator, that does not mean that they don't look into the spouse, because time and time again, it's like a love triangle, and whether she actually had him do it or not, but that's why he did it, or she asked him to, she manipulated him into doing it, or even paid money for him to do it. Like, this guy is absolutely, I gotta use the right hand. This guy is such a dishonest person.
But what even goes further is now she's saying that Erica Kirk, her being involved in murder is not enough. Erica Kirk was involved with child sex trafficking prior to and while she's with, and also accusing TPUSA itself while Charlie Kirk was there involved in child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I don't think
that's where like people should draw. And then just like somebody else touched on, how many times do you get to be wrong? Was it the French Foreign Legion? Was it the Masons? Was it he was shot from beneath the table? Was there tunnels? Was there bees? Was the Jews? Was it the
Egyptian airplanes?
The Egyptian airplanes? Is it an exploding mic? Is it a camera gun? Is it a palm gun? Where there, like it has gotten crazy. And then on top of that, what she's
And see, he's attributing every crazy theory on the internet to one person and one person alone. That woman lives rent-free in his head. I don't know that anybody else ever said the word Candace in this whole entire thing, but that fucker over and over and over again. He is Candace obsessed.
Built
He should just go ahead and tattoo her name on his ass or something. It is ridiculous.
is a complete orbit around her. This has turned into a grifter industrial complex, a conspiracy industrial complex, where it is now accepted, not only accepted, it is encouraged and incentivized to accuse people of murder with zero actual evidence.
But Gary, to your point, I will say this. I know Charlie personally. I think he spends $3 to $6 million. I haven't looked at it on his security. I don't think Brian Harpole killed Charlie Kirk. I don't think he would ever do that.
Sure.
But I think that through incompetence,
Sure.
they let this happen.
Well,
Yes.
obviously, but also obviously because he got killed from allegedly from a roof that was unsecured, despite being told that it was secured. The defense that people.
Sorry, guys. Heather, yeah, she was not there for only 17 months. I think what he means by that is that, her and Charlie worked together and did all their things, for several years there. And she had the whole Blexit thing, and he had Turning Point, and they had a relationship and definitely worked together and worked to build up Turning Point. I think what he means is she was only technically directly hired as, whatever it was. I forget what she started out as, and then ended up being like the communications director or whatever it was. That's probably what he's referring to. And again, he's a lying son of a bitch, because even if that's the case, and she was only directly hired by Charlie, officially for Turning Point USA for 17 months, does not mean that she was only involved and helped build the place for 17 months. Everybody knows that's bullshit. Again, he's a liar.
Always say when they say, well, we're not attacking Erica Kirk, typically it's the wife that gets investigated. Even if that's the case, at some point you abandon it when there's no evidence of some sort of text message to hire a hitman, insurance policies, beneficiary. At some point you abandon that, especially after it's been investigated. But you're right, nobody trusts the FBI.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger picture here, right?
We've lost all faith in the establishment.
No, the same FBI that told us that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself and there was a video evidence to prove it is now telling us we've investigated everybody on the Discord chats. We've investigated Erica Kirk.
Lance Twiggs has immunity.
But, partial use immunity, not full immunity. He can still be prosecuted. But it's true.
Sometimes I can't stop, Heather, and I don't mean the drinking, but yeah, especially get a drink or two in me and get me talking about this or something like this. Holy shit.
But the difference between distrusting an institution and reflexively believing the exact opposite are two very different things. I don't believe something because the FBI says it. I'll be very skeptical if the FBI says it, because they've proven that, unfortunately, they've said things that are proven not to be true. But to go from there and say, I'm going to reflexively believe the exact opposite of what the FBI says, that's just as stupid as blindly accepting everything they say. And we've gone past the point of just asking questions. It's making baseless accusations, putting out unsubstantiated hypotheses, and then it's very curious the second you...
What is the definition of hypothesis? Now, I am not a I'm not a college professor, and I'm not even going to call myself a professional. Am I wrong? Chat, help me out. Is a hypothesis not something that isn't? How did he put it? Shit.
Question just as stupid as blindly accepting everything they say. And we've gone past the point of just asking questions. It's making baseless accusations, putting out unsubstantiated hypotheses.
Is a hypothesis not by definition something that is unsubstantiated, at least fully? I could be wrong with that, guys. Chat, help me out. I don't know. I just thought that was...
hypotheses. And then it's very curious. The second you question the people who are just asking questions, you get called a Zionist. Yeah. And so it's a very...
Viva, let me ask you this question. This is one thing that I've been wrestling in my mind because I've been spending so many hours on it. And Gary, you can answer, but I'd rather get Viva because he's an attorney. If you shoot into a crowd of
ain't much of an attorney.
3,000 people, I would think that would be a federal crime. If Tyler Robinson drove from California to Utah and did it, it would automatically be a federal crime. But I'm kind of happy that it's a state crime because we have cameras in the courtroom. But I do find it's weird that this is basically a terrorist attack and there's...
He did gain my respect, trust me. But them shoes and no socks are killing me, just saying.
Still prosecuting at the state level. Why are they not prosecuting this at the federal level?
I could venture an answer to that question, and why there haven't been other federal...
I think I could answer that question.
...investigations into this, especially if there were terrorist elements to it. And that's
considering his relationship with Donald Trump as well.
No, but I've long said, this was a preemptive presidential assassination, and I believe it's clear terrorism. I believe
this is a terror attack.
There were clearly more people involved than just Tyler Robinson, to the extent that it's proven that he was the one who pulled the trigger. But this is where I've been saying for a long time, asking legitimate questions versus turning this into a spectacle where Pizzagate was a real thing. People were actually investigating meaningful what the hell are they talking about in those text messages? And then you whip up conspiracy theories, so you get one guy to show up to Comet Pizza with a gun,
What's up,
and then
Andrew,
lo and behold,
the
you can no
Romanian?
longer even have a meaningful discussion about the actual issues.
Good
And
to see you back.
Yes, Charlie would have wanted people to investigate his own murder, not turn it into a years-long mini-series, a true crime extravaganza, and not make it more difficult.
Not
to
even
get to the
true
truth.
crime, unsubstantiated fact. I mean, not even unsubstantiated fact.
Can anybody please explain to me what an unsubstantiated fact is? Are facts not generally substantiated? Wow, what a wiener. It's no wonder he sits over there and shuts his mouth for just about the whole rest of this thing.
Unsubstantiated allegations. That's the thing that bothers me the most, is that the public is so hungry for this, and maybe this is a reflection of how much people cared for Charlie, that they really.
What's up,
this is not
135?
just someone who was killed, and you have some sort of human empathy towards him. This is someone that people really cared about, and there's a deep feeling of attachment to him, and also a tremendous feeling that what happened was just so blatantly wrong, so unjust, for just speaking his mind on campus.
I think there's
The
more to it
Byron
than that.
dialogue.
I think there's more to it than he was just
look-
speaking his mind on campus.
So what I'm getting at here is
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Again, they keep preaching the same old thing. All the talking heads. He's a martyr. He was killed for his beliefs. And when they say that, they mean his Christian beliefs and his beliefs that trans is just not cool or Christian. And they say this all the time, and it's straight propaganda. You heard what Alex just said. I don't think it's as simple as just for his beliefs. There were other motives, much bigger and darker motives. You can't just, and again, that's why right from the get-go they started screaming trans. But this has become a wedge issue in most places, and so they thought the public were going to just jump for it, but no. But Alex, he knows. He's got a feeling there's some much bigger, more powerful things going on in the background, and that Charlie would has or would go against those interests, and he had to go.
the hunger that the public has that has supported this commercialization of questioning the narrative is feeding a monster, and people have profited off that. And I think, the amount of money that's been made off of it is totally out of proportion.
Hundreds of millions
That
of
blue
dollars.
Totally out
waffle.
of proportion. The
amount of money
value
that's
of
been
anything that they
spent
produce.
on these arguments is also not to be disregarded too.
Yeah.
And can I just bring it back to the fundamentals for
Sure.
for 1 second and bring down the temperature, because you all seem kind of angry about it?
I absolutely love this man. Hey, anybody that doesn't know, Buckley Carlson, guys, the one and only. He's no longer Tucker Carlson's brother. He is now Buckley Carlson.
I'm very angry about it. I'm sad too, and I'm not going to be defensive about saying that the onus is entirely on the authorities that we pay for, the entire law enforcement system that we tolerate at the expense of our freedoms. And then they give us a narrative that just is full of anomalies, full of questions. They don't bother satisfying any of them. They're the ones that, as you indicated, they create this distrust. And then people are mad that
There's never a trial in which all the evidence is released to the public before the trial.
yet people have maintained they were. I mean, you were definitely not mentioning that a lot of people have said, quote, there was 4K video of this
Yeah.
guy taking a shot. You see the pores on his face. I watched several
That's a
people.
mischaracterization of actually what was said.
But there's multiple.
I saw
Did he say that?
Is that a mischaracterization? I can't talk how words work. Was that a mischaracterization of what was said? Again, could anybody tell who said that without the camera being on him? Fucking Gary Melton. Was that? How did he mischaracterize that? We've all seen the clips. I played some of them. High definition, 4K. You see him go up there, you're watching the clock. You see him get in position and take aim, and you see him take the shot. And then Benny Johnson was the worst. High definition, 4K, could see so much detail. Brandon Tatum, as clear as the noonday sun. How was that statement that Buckley made mischaracterizing what was said? Again, Gary Melton, you're a fucking asshole.
Dr. Sobek was
I
talking
saw
about
3 separate press
I'm
conferences.
fringe with Jack, so I'm not even
He was
calling them out,
talking
but that
in
was
interview,
weird.
He was talking
Yeah.
about
I'm friends with Jack. That was weird.
A 4K
The footage
video,
of him walking
he
up
was
the
talking
stairs.
about inside
Yeah,
the
yeah.
facility and
Yeah.
walking up the stairs.
Not the shot.
He
Jack
said,
never
I-
talked about actual rooftop 4K.
He said,
Oh, yes, he did say 4K rooftop video. That was exactly what he said, because he said when they played it, you could see Tyler go over there, get in position, take the shot. You could see everything, is what he said. But yes, they all said that you could see him take the shot.
no, yes, he did. He said, I saw him take the shot.
He
I
did
saw
say
There you go, Buckley.
what time it was.
Gary over there just pointing at him.
he did say he did.
He
say,
certainly did
He did
say-
say that I saw him take the shot, and
And
I
it lined
thought-
up with the time.
So like what he say? Because let's be real.
I'll just take a good long look at this dude. When this is all said and done, I don't think you'll be seeing that face anymore. I could be wrong. He may just be that shameless that he may not go away. But when this is all said and done, I got a feeling that guy's going to want to crawl up in a hole.
Before we went
Maybe
into
I'll
this,
set that
everybody was saying in the conspiracy side that footage didn't even exist, or they would have showed us that at the very beginning.
No, they said that they said that there should be good footage somewhere, and obviously it doesn't exist. And to your point, it doesn't exist because we have not got any decent footage. You would think that they would have played the best footage they had at the preliminary hearing.
And that footage did exist, which, by the way, also the footage at the Washington County Sheriff's Department that they said didn't exist also existed.
Okay, I didn't say it didn't exist. Candace didn't say it didn't exist. Baron Coleman didn't say it didn't exist. I don't remember ever hearing any of us say it didn't exist. What was said, or who said that it didn't exist, was the outlet that filed to have access to that footage and was told that it had been deleted. So again, he points at all of us and say, we lied, we said it didn't exist and we were wrong. No, the reporting is that somebody tried to get that footage, an outlet, and then reported that they were told the footage doesn't exist.
But the point here is like, from my perspective, if I'm like, okay, I know a shot occurred, we have cameras on the ground, we see this person at the right time, at the right place, get in position. Like, I don't see a GoPro in his face pulling the trigger, but my God, like how many more, you talk about coincidence?
That's called inference, and you can't stack inference. I don't know if y'all remember Barron talking about this, but how you can infer, but you can't infer from an inference. In other words, you have to have crystal clear footage and know you have to see this person, and they have to be 100% identifiable. And never, like if we're talking video, never leave the frame and get into position and take a shot. If you can't 100%, identify this person, say in the clip where he's pulling the shot, as long as it's from a larger clip, unmolested and uninterrupted, where he can be positively ID'd, then you can infer that it's him taking the shot. The problem is these are all clips. These are all start from nowhere, and they all are busted up from different areas and different. So again, to infer that that's him taking the shot, you have to infer from an inference, and that does not work at all. Now, it does work in Utah for a preliminary hearing.
Like how many more coincidences do
I
you
will say this, though, Gary.
The entire campus is saturated, as everywhere else in America at the moment is saturated with cameras, high quality cameras. And you're saying they've got pictures of this guy who may or may not be, is wearing the same clothes, looks like Tyler, but they have no clear image of his
they do.
face?
As a matter of fact, Lance Twiggs in the definitely said, yes, that looks definitely like him. In the
Yes,
last
based
two
on what
he
he's
did,
saying,
but we're
though.
relying upon Lance.
Based on
Again, you lying son of a bitch. What are the words that came out of his mouth? The first thing he said was, no, not 100%. I can't, because of the quality of the picture, which is what all of us have been screaming now for months. Shitty quality footage and pictures. You can't identify the guy. That doesn't necessarily look like him. And his boyfriend, air quotes boyfriend, said exactly the same thing. Now, the last two pictures, he did say, yeah, those look like Tyler. But basically, he said, well, he's wearing a hat. I've never seen that hat. And he wears sunglasses, yeah, and he always liked to wear blue jeans. I mean, good God.
What he is saying, right? Like, which I know, I get it.
These are issues for trial. Let's just take for granted.
There's
Take for granted what you said.
300
Take for granted, just take for granted what you said about Jack Posobiec overselling what he saw.
I didn't actually specify him, although he was one.
No,
but there
it
were
was
several
Jack, it was
others.
Benny, they know
Benny.
that.
Yeah, Benny
and Tatum.
Johnson, Jack.
But so just operate on. It's true. They oversold it. Jack Posobiec knew Charlie Kirk. Let's just say he wants to believe that Tyler Robinson pulled the shot. So from that video, he comes out and says, "I saw it on the video."
He gave a 12-minute press conference outside the hearing. He said, "I saw it in incredible 4K detail."
No, when he mentioned
crystal
4K
clear detail that lines up
but
with
He
the
mentioned 4K
content.
was specific.
He
to
most
the-
certainly
It
did.
was specific
I
to the
went
footage.
over the
inside-
footage.
It was specific to the footage inside the low speed.
Right.
Okay, so is this guy stupid or is he lying? This is also a problem. I'm not going to say either way because I don't know and I've not heard his commentary before. But this is a problem when you get a bunch of people to do a panel like this and you just get the loudest voices online, the one that scream the loudest, and not necessarily the ones that have followed it the closest and or are the most knowledgeable. So I'm not really sure. I'm not going to call him a liar just yet. He might just be stupid. He may just not know. But without following this case, I'm going to say that anybody that watched those clips of Jack Posobiec and Benny Johnson and Officer Tatum, all of them, front to back, Graham Allen, if he watched those whole clips, I don't see how he comes to the conclusion that what he was talking about was the staircase. No, the staircase was never what they were talking about, and it was clear because they said they saw him go up there, get into position, take the shot, and then run. None of that has anything to do with the staircase.
The footage that they were privy to.
Operate on the basis that he did not accurately describe it. The first reason, the video wasn't made public at the request of the defense, not at the request of the
I'm aware of
prosecution.
that.
Okay. Second thing, so he misdescribed it. Move on. I mean,
Yeah, but this is what's frustrating. Real quick, let me make this point.
Move on. Misdescribed it. Good God, Viva.
This is what's frustrating because I believe most of the official narrative, but then I see January 6th, Brandon was a victim of that. There was agent provocateurs there. There was FBI agents dressed like they were MAGA supporters, encouraging people to go into the Capitol building and ruining people's lives. So the idea that there could be somebody that's dressed like Tyler Robinson and then they're just scaling a roof, jumping off the 12th floor. I'm just saying, when you look at it, this is why, yes, has Candace gone too far? Baron Coleman maybe gone too far, but a lot of this is weird. The guy's jumping off a 12-foot roof. I wouldn't just be able to jump off.
Oh, Gary said he was doing that when he was a kid. Anybody could do that.
Like an
I was doing that
not with a
kid
rifle.
with much like that.
Anybody should be able to jump off 12 feet and land so gracefully that they hardly miss a step and just spring up and never really break stride. Anybody should be able to do that anytime. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not even that. I mean, clearly somebody did it.
Yeah,
clearly
we saw that. We've seen that. Clearly
that person is not looking like an athlete. Like that person looks like a very skinny person. It looks, by the way, just happens to look like the same exact stature and build of
Maybe they compressed that video.
Tyler Robinson.
Is there a way that we could
Honestly,
compute though and see
Gary,
his height
you
though?
can say that
Yeah.
on those fuzzy frames. I couldn't make that.
Yeah,
And has anybody done a gait analysis yet? I've not heard shit about that. We all know that that's a very valid way of identifying people. I haven't heard anything about that. Be an easy way to clear up who that was that jumped off the roof, wouldn't it?
First of all, the footage that Candace showed and
I know, it was
the
taken
footage
from
that is
video.
actually released by the FBI, those are two, like, this is a video of a video, and like the that is to say, like, oh, this is what Jack Posobiec saw. That's an oversell. That
But
is
we
mischaracterizing.
all saw the video that the
and it wasn't
FBI
just
released
being
the
on
day after.
Candace's
Well, we
podcast.
didn't
We have
see
freedom
the
of
same quality.
information
Yes.
share that was on
I know,
House.
it
This is
is
even
clearly
before
a very
an episode.
small person.
Okay, but the video has been degraded intentionally.
Yeah.
But couldn't we measure?
Why would that video not be enhanced? If
that
if
high
the aim was
definition
clarity, if the aim was to identify.
He didn't have anything to say when he said degraded intentionally, because any person with any brain at all, with two brain cells to rub together, knows that on a campus full of 360 degrees and some not 360 degrees, but 360 degree 4K cameras everywhere, that's not the only footage that you come up with. So yes, intentionally degraded. If you wanted help from the public to identify a person, would you not want the clearest, best footage you had? Maybe, just maybe, they didn't want the public to be sure about it. Maybe they didn't want the public to know who that was in the picture or the video, and maybe they already knew who they were picking up.
Identify someone specifically.
Here's what I've been told.
What's up, Ratchet City?
No, I think that's
It's
a
a
very
reasonable,
good point. I do agree with
point. I
you.
grant you that.
But it goes back to
I've been told that we have actually 5 different views of that rooftop footage. That's what I've been told. Somebody close to the investigation. Now, who knows if that ends up being true? That's hearsay. That I don't even talk about. I've had that information for a really long time. But the point is like we know we have around 300 terabytes of data. This was a preliminary hearing. They could have went with a quarter of the evidence.
Thank you, Lisa Marie. Thank you very much. Hypothesis: an educated guess or possible explanation that can be tested. Okay. Unsubstantiated hypothesis, that's an oxymoron coming from a moron. Theory, a well-tested explanation supported by lots of evidence. Thank you. Yep, exactly. So there you go. And I guess Viva Frey, being a lawyer, doesn't know the difference.
And the charges would have carried over. That's a fact.
But it's a preliminary hearing, the purpose of which is to demonstrate that they have a case to put this guy in prison.
It's not
Enough to
probable
have
cause.
the
It's not even that threshold. Dave, go for it.
Yes, thank you. I'm also aware. And the thing is, when you get to the point where you're getting at, right, we had one evidentiary hearing to determine probable cause, right, that the case can proceed. And everything we're arguing about right now, we didn't even have before that. Right now, we have even more than we had before. All of the arguments that are being made, and I'll talk about Candace in about 5 seconds, all the arguments that are being made are based on the lack of evidence, right? So we're filling in the gray area that we don't know with conspiracy, and there's a reason for that. And
Depends on whether you call evidence things that have been uncovered and officially added to the actual state of Utah's prosecution. Now, if that's what you're going to consider evidence, then yes, the lack of evidence. But trust me, these theories are not based off of no evidence. I'm not saying there's probably some out there that are, but trust me, a huge majority of the American population is not rejecting your bullshit because of no evidence. And I mean, no evidence to what they are believing, or, you know.
like I said, I'll get to that in a second. But the fact is, they're not going to release every single bit of evidence to the public before this trial goes on. They have to pick a jury. And so what the last thing a prosecutor wants to do is say, hey, I have an idea. Let's convince all of the public that this guy is guilty by releasing everything. And they can't even have a trial. So the idea that, and look, and I will say this, and I'll say it right now, it's recorded.
They weren't looking for compelling evidence to show the judge. Their most compelling
They're
evidence
not releasing
on
it
that
to the
day.
public. We don't know what they...
And that video wasn't supposed to be released to the public there, jackass. That was supposed to be for the court only. Excuse me, that point is just stupid. Talking about how you wouldn't want to release things that showed Tyler Robinson clearly doing anything because that would taint the jury. But at the same time, at the beginning, they released photos saying, please help us find this person. So you can't have it both ways. You've either got to show a picture of them that they are identifiable in, so the public can help you identify this person to apprehend them, or you show us grainy bullshit like they did because they don't actually need the public's help. They already know who they're going for.
have that
No,
hasn't
in
been
that
released.
courtroom at that evidentiary
They're
hearing
only
for
showing it up
probable
to
cause.
determine.
And yes, they would show the judge something clear where he could, from that bench, say, yep, that does look like Tyler.
It's not the most
Only
compelling
enough
evidence.
to show probable cause. And so there's still discovery that has to happen. There's other evidence that you're still considering. At the end of the day, we don't have the evidence that the prosecutor has, that even the defense team has, that even the judge has seen. There's hearings that are happening outside of the cameras where they might have seen some of this stuff. They're not going to give it all to the public. And
Has anybody heard any hearings going on that are not being recorded? Not that the cameras have not been in? I think we generally have an idea of when a hearing's going on, right?
I'm not saying that maybe we'll go to the trial. Maybe you'll watch it. It'll be like OJ. It'll be like, well, the glove's not fitting. And then we can continue the conspiracy conversation. I think that's valid. But to determine that since we have information, therefore every other probable reason why Charlie was killed, well, that's the truth then. And I just think that we are taking too free of a liberty to use our imaginations into what may have happened in lack of the evidence of what actually happened. And then let me pivot for 1 second. I'll turn it back over. The thing with Candace is, and I don't know what her intent is. I don't know what's in her mind. I don't know if it's displaced grief. I don't know if it's anger. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter.
Could be judge.
Yeah, that's him. Yep, that's him. Started wearing brick suit. Yeah, I think that's what he calls himself. Yeah, he. I think he was wearing that because he was a big build the wall guy, and yep.
Genuine concern.
It could be
And
genuine
actually,
concern.
It could
I
be
don't know her personally, so I don't know what her
total
belief in
disgust
mind is,
at
and I'm
the
not
level
going to
of
know. But I do know this.
evidence.
Charlie Kirk, the reason why he was a target, whether it was the one shooter or whether it was another country, was because of how effective he was motivating young people. And if we look at who's targeting young people today, it's the left, it's the communists,
And it's the state of Israel.
It's just I don't know that to be
What
true.
100%?
Oh shit! I got to keep my cursor over there where I could do this better.
They've taken
Either
a lot
way,
of
can
public.
we- Charlie
was
They've
against
taken a
Irene
lot
war.
of public
That
voice
is a
about
fact.
the
But
attitude
either way, can we agree that
of young Americans.
shooter or whether it was another country was because of how effective.
Let's do that.
Actually,
again.
it could
I
be
don't know her personally. I don't know what her
total
belief in mind
disgust
is, and
at
I'm
the
not
level
going to
of
know. But I do know this.
evidence.
Charlie Kirk, the reason why he was a target, whether it was the one shooter or whether it was another country, was because of how effective he was motivating young people. And if we look at who's targeting young people today, it's the left, it's the communists,
And it's the state of Israel.
It's just I don't know that.
What 100%? They've taken
don't
a lot
know
of public
that.
Charlie
voice.
was
They've
against
taken a
Irene
lot-
war.
This guy works for a news network and he doesn't know that. I guess he missed that little hot mic moment where old BB is sitting in a room full of influencers and stuff and talks about what is the number one thing we need to invest in, or I don't remember exactly how he put it, but either way, come to find out it was TikTok, and he was just absolutely tickled that they were finally getting their little fingers on TikTok, and that they needed to work on getting a hold of X and all these other platforms. So and he said specifically because the youth are on TikTok. And so this guy, again, is an idiot or dishonest. Y'all can decide. There is no doubt at all that they are targeting the youth. I mean, probably more than the trans or the communists, because it is an existential threat to them.
That is a fact.
But either way, can we agree that
Of young
people,
Americans about
can
the
we
state of
agree though that
Israel.
young people are being used for political purposes and their hearts and minds? And Charlie was very effective at getting young people for our movement. And so, in the wake of that, his death has been exploited to impact young people.
Okay, cryptic. I've been scrolling through and I've seen a couple of these. Who is UT and that dude with the red hair, please? UT. Maybe you already have, but let's see. Can you shoot me a text? Shoot me a text, Cryptic. I'm kind of confused. I'm sorry.
People in a way that damages everything Charlie built, and also damages the movement, because there's a lot of division amongst us. I mean, there's conservative against
The movement's
conservative.
dead, David.
The movement is not dead.
The
But it
movement
is
in
not
college
dead.
campuses. I go to
It
speak
is
at
not
colleges.
dead.
Yeah, no, listen, and I'm not even saying this to be a downer. I'm saying, and I really respect Erica, but she cannot do what Charlie did. Charlie was such a leader,
Right.
and this is a JP Sears and I'm not even trying to bring him up because I don't agree with how he's attacked her, but it would be the same as Dak Prescott for the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys getting hurt. You couldn't put in Dak Prescott's wife to run the Cowboys.
Oh, no, Charlie's
Nobody's arguing that.
Yeah, I'm not
Charlie
arguing
was so
with you on
unique.
that.
So yes, there's a young youth movement, but now all these kids are now half of them are on. I go to these campuses, half of them are on Kansas side, half of them.
But that's my point.
But so we're
They
so
have the freedom to
divided.
do so.
But
Oh, y'all got it, Cryptic. Okay, good deal. Thank you.
this was done on purpose to divide the
Correct.
youth.
Who did it on purpose, though?
I don't know, but
No,
I'm saying
that's
the
what we should be
movement.
discussing.
The movement. We won the
That's the
culture war.
question.
When Charlie was doing that tour, and he had 3,000 people there because it was 4 years ago. He had 100 people
What's
there.
up,
It
Owls?
was a small. All of a sudden, now he's like the Rolling Stones when he's on it. He's the biggest thing ever. We had the culture war one trans agenda.
Brett, if you'll go to YouTube and just go to the channel Walk Away, it's Brandon Straka's channel. Just go to Walk Away, and it'll be right there at the top.
Whatever agenda, we had it won. And then when I'm just my touching and feeling, now the culture.
Oh, y'all are talking about Alex? Okay. I was kind of confused on the red hair part. I guess maybe it does have a red tint, but that's why I was so confused. Yes, Alex Stein. I like Alex Stein. I do. He's got some, me and him don't see eye to eye on a lot, but especially after watching this, the man is objective. And like I said, I feel like there's a major conflict going on inside this guy.
We're back to zero.
Yeah, I do
there's
feel
no
we
doubt
are
about
absolutely
it.
back to
There's
zero.
no
But let's
doubt.
talk about what we actually have seen, though. Outside of what podcaster or whomever is arguing this, that, whatever, like the things that we know. We're talking about, do we have trust in our institutions to actually do the right thing to provide proper evidence? We already have established that there has been a mischaracterization on what influencers are saying, what being privy to certain types of information. Okay, but what have we all seen as a collective? We saw the footage that was circulating on X and we said, okay, it's very grainy. That's a known. We all agree that it's grainy. If there's more footage that we're not privy to, okay. If there's a way to make it less degraded, that would be excellent. That's to be unforeseen right now. We do also have some text messages, right? I just, as a viewer of seeing the text messages and having my mind of freedom of thought, I found them to be very odd. So I think that's also a fair conversation to have too, is like, okay, based on what we've been given so far, and we can talk about the institution and what we expect out of it and hope and pray for. So for what we've actually seen so far, we talk about the footage, we talk about the
given. But and I'm not disagreeing with what
I'm saying what we've seen online.
What entitlement does the general public have to the evidence that's going to be presented at trial for a jury?
Then why are there so many people who've convicted Tyler Robinson so aggressively in public? They've said, we've got the killer, he's guilty.
Well, and that's a fair point.
But I mean,
yeah,
everybody.
like what Cash said,
doesn't question
moments
it.
after.
Well, I just want to make this point. I said it earlier, but
Discord message said it was me. He kind of admitted it.
Yeah, but that's
old
just
man.
odd. I mean,
but there's
not
weird timelines
odd.
of this. I just want to say this, and I was not there, but I talked to multiple people. Gary just said it too, and there was a gunshot. I know that would not lie to
Loud
me.
noise.
I mean,
Hey, we don't argue that point. According to John Bray, there had to be a gunshot.
there was a loud noise.
So not only was there a gunshot,
I just
it was
know
there
that.
was a
I know there's.
supersonic
I don't know
event
anything.
recorded
I don't know who shot the gun,
on
but I know there was a
multiple audio
gunshot. I
devices.
talked to
Like,
somebody
there's
that would
no
not
doubt
lie
a
about
supersonic
that.
event took
A
place.
person
I
that
thought
I
John
trust.
Bray had
What's up, Captain Jackass? What's up, how do words work? What's up, Texas? Here we go. Listen, here comes another bombshell from Mr. Buckley, Uncle Buck. John Bray, I hope you're listening.
done
Oh my
audio
God. John Bray
analysis.
doesn't know his ass from the hole in the ground.
But see-
Actually,
Hold on, guys. Sorry.
I don't know anything. I don't know who shot the gun, but I know there was a gunshot. I talked to somebody that would not lie about that. A
I
person
thought
that I
John
trust.
Bray had done
Oh my
audio
God. John Bray
analysis.
doesn't know his ass from the hole in the ground.
But see-
like
Are you kidding me, Gary? Coming from this dude that looks like an ass with ears.
Actually,
the
I don't think
physics-
that's fair to say. I
No,
saw
it
him do
is
some
like so.
scientific-
I've actually had Matt Tardio on, who is literally not only a ballistics
Matt Retardio.
expert, former Green Beret. He's literally an explosives expert. We went through everything that John Bray did. What he is doing is pure fantasy. It is speculation upon speculation mixed with some sci-fi nonsense that, by the way,
I saw
completely
Matt
defies
Tardio
physics.
on
Oh, here we go, Buckley. Get him. Roast him.
TPUSA, and I saw an interview with John Bray. John Bray was so much more articulate, so much more in command.
I mean,
so
the
much
best
more
con artists
convincing. Matt Tardio was not convincing at all to me. I'm not a ballistics expert, and I don't need to be. I really applaud you for having this series, but I actually push back respectfully and say, in this case, it's not fair to call it like a conspiracy theory deal. I think of this as basic truth, simple deduction. Like, this does not feel
There you go, John Bray. There's your kudos for this morning. Yep. Oh, he said Matt Retardio just did not have a very convincing argument, and that John Bray was much, much more convincing.
or smell right. This story about what happened to Charlie, we haven't even talked about all the foreknowledge. We've got famous
George
Harrison
Zinn.
Smith sitting
There's a
here.
lot of weird stuff too.
Right? I mean, there's a lot of people predicting that Charlie was going to be killed. There are all sorts of elements
who
and
were-
weird
who-
anomalies on the day that he
who were the
was
people?
killed. Pardon?
Well, Charlie
Well, there are
wouldn't-
lots of people online who are
Harrison.
predicting that.
No,
he
no,
was
Charlie wouldn't have spent millions of dollars in security if he didn't think there was a threat on his life.
Yeah.
I'm making a point. Yes, there were
I mean,
people
we
who
could
posted
spend
in advance with
an
advanced
hour
knowledge.
talking about all the weird anomalies that were surrounding this. I mean,
Good morning, Ground Zero. Welcome, welcome. Have you been here before? If you haven't, welcome. If you have, I apologize. It takes me a couple times usually to catch on. I have not given my schedule this whole time, so I am going to just go ahead and do that real quick now. We do this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 a.m. Central, Friday, 6 p.m. Central, and then Saturday and or Sunday, 6 p.m. Central. So anybody that hears me that has not subscribed, please do that. Hit the notification bell. Please like the video. We've got all kinds of awesome stuff coming up in the very near future. We got Clint Russell going to come on with us soon. We've got Ana Escobar, Rio Gates, and a whole slew of other people. So lots of big stuff coming in the future. We have John Bray come on once a month, so he should be back on here in the next week or so. So yeah, anybody that's not subscribed, please do so. And thank you for being here.
I think you can find anonymous.
Best chat on the internet too. You will feel so welcome. These people are awesome. no better place to hang out.
Just like I went through this whole thing with Butler too, and like I was lambasted after I went and talked to people at Butler. I went and actually did a 3D.
Are you satisfied with the
Yeah, I'm not
information you got with
satisfied
Butler?
with the story
Gary,
of
I'm real
Butler
quick.
either.
I'm not even meaning to cut you off. I know you're talking about Butler, but are you
Holy shit, only 19 likes still. Come on, guys. Pretend that little thumbs up is Ben Shapiro's face. Come on, guys. Let's hit that like button. I know there's got to be. Come on, guys. Come on. Please do it for me. Hell, the like is what helps the algorithm push this thing out. We'd probably have 150 or 200 in here if we had all those likes. Come on, guys. Thank y'all. Thank you.
satisfied?
Help a brother out.
With the information in the official story?
I think there was a conspiracy to cover up, and I think there was definitely much more involved with Thomas Crooks, and I think that he was actually radicalized and weaponized. And I think very possibly, and I've talked about this, I did a whole interview with Chase Hughes about psychological manipulation and basically brainwashing, and I think that possibly the same thing. But going back, like, here's a responsible thing,
Facts.
like people like Candace Owens and people with a large
I should have put a Candace Owens counter up here. How many times he says Candace Owens? I apologize for not doing that, guys.
microphone and audience should be doing. Like, let's address this responsibly. Number one, let's not omit information, which I've caught her doing. I've caught her outright lying multiple times. But it's like, hey, folks, this is how investigations are ran, and it's okay to speculate. But by the way, I don't start throwing people under the bus for the murder, and I don't start accusing people of child sex trafficking without any evidence. So, like, now we start looking into malice, and then we start talking about Brian Harper.
Did y'all see that glitch there? That was weird, wasn't it? I mean, it was like, I don't know. It's like he transformed for a second, and I know it's just technology issue, but am I wrong, guys? Did he not kind of look like a dick there for a split second and then went back to, well, his normal dickhead self? I just curious.
Which is going to win his lawsuit against Candace Owens. Had multiple lawyers on with that. But it's like, hey, here's the responsible thing to do.
Brian Harpole has said some things that are just pure fantasy.
Yeah, he really shot himself in the foot with this
Gabby, I
online
want to just make one
interview.
point, and I mean this with all due respect, and as soon as you say that means you're going to say something totally disrespectful, and I know we've gone.
Here we go. He's fixing to cook. Look, I'm on the Turning Point USA side, but you are full of shit. You're lying. You're full of shit. He knows it. And again, I give Alex so many kudos for having the balls to do this. I mean, right here on the internet in front of everybody. Let's see. Hey, Nuts. I have not seen you in here. I'm assuming this is your first time. I'm not going to give you the whole spiel again because I just gave it. Welcome, and please subscribe. And we got one rule. If you show up in the chat once, we kind of expect for you to show up every time after that, or at least when you can. So hopefully you'll follow that one rule, and we'll be seeing you here a lot. And welcome. This is the best chat on the internet, I can promise you. Here we go. Let's watch Alex cook.
On after Candace, she's trying to monetize this, and I mean this with all due respect. You're monetizing Charlie Kirk's death. You're talking about it, defending him, but you're monetizing his death too. And I mean that. And I mean that with.
Ooh, did you hear that? You are monetizing his death also. Oh, yeah. It's about time somebody told him that, and it had to be a turning point, dude, to do it.
Respect. I'm just saying, you're talking about it. There's a reason why Tucker, his brother, has not really talked about it. There's a reason why I personally don't talk about it, and I'm not trying to clout chase and talk about it because I want to let all of the evidence come out before I make an opinion. And no offense to you, but you.
But you are the loudest voice out there, the biggest jackass. You are being monetized by Charlie's death. No doubt about it. I've said this before.
Candace has done it to a bigger degree than you, but you've monetized Charlie.
No, I actually.
Oh, yeah, actually you have. Look at that. You see that he's not comfortable right now. Just saying.
I have lost significant amount of money doing this in multiple different ways. I could talk to you
Well,
offline.
perspective is different.
Regardless, the reason that I'm doing this.
And you have too, Viva. You've talked about it. You've benefited. You've talked. I'm saying real quick, and I mean this all due respect. You've talked about Charlie Kirk. You've gotten thousands of viewers talking about it.
So you're saying correcting someone who's spreading disinformation, I am somehow guilty of something in this?
No, what I'm saying is you're doing the same thing as her. We're saying, oh, well, she's monetizing.
Correcting the disinformation is not the
If we're
same
going to be
thing as
intellectually
spreading
honest.
disinformation.
No, but it's a completely different scale.
Alex,
It is a different scale. I'm not trying to go after you. I'm saying.
I don't feel you are. Just listen. Covering the preliminary
Did you see Brandon back in the background? He's like, are these guys serious right now?
hearing is different than someone coming out and saying this is a show trial. So when someone is correcting disinformation, to then accuse them of monetizing the fact that they have to go and say, no, Candace, this is a preliminary hearing, not a trial. A, not making any money off this, not making any
followers off it, just taking shit and being called a Zionist all the time. Don't accuse the people who are out there correcting the disinformation of profiting off of it, because had it not been for the disinformation, we'd be sitting here waiting for the trial and maybe exploring meaningful questions.
But technically, you're taking all these arrows from Candace's audience, right? You could just wait. I'm not saying you should do this, but you could just wait till all the truth comes out in the trial, then he's guilty, and then you can be like, no, boo, boo, Candace, you're wrong.
And we could just wait when the leftists take over. We could just wait and not point out the fact that they're lying and they're manipulating people and all those other things. I'm doing this. I can't speak for everybody else, but I think this is an existential threat to our country. I really do.
Yeah.
When we can go out and we can manipulate millions of people and convince them of lies. And by the way, I do think that this is much bigger than Candace, and it's not even about Candace is a mascot for what's really happening. What we have is our political and our foreign adversaries that are capitalizing on this moment, dividing the right to make sure that they defeat Trump.
But Gary, this is what pisses me off. This is what pisses me off the most, and I respect you guys for covering.
Here we go. Let him cook.
I'm not saying you guys shouldn't.
I think, honestly, if I had to pick a person, one person besides, so Buckley he's King Buckley when it comes to this little conversation. But now, first runner-up is going to be Alex Stein. He may not be convinced of the same things that I'm fairly convinced on, but yeah, he's definitely first runner-up. I am really impressed with him. Look at that face. He's tired of hearing the lies and the bullshit. Yeah, okay, defend the cause. Do it without lying to everybody constantly. And name calling and all the other shit that goes along with it.
Dang it, let's not be hypocritical. You guys have gotten some views from it. But when they asked Donald Trump, what do you think about Charlie Kirk's death? And then he goes, look at that big ballroom. That pisses me off.
Sure, but that's how
I'm saying, so Donald Trump, if Donald Trump, the guy that won the election, Charlie Kirk, he should be allocating the majority of his resources on this. And I don't see that. I don't think Kash Patel at Rouse texting, we caught him.
They would say that he's put his finger on the scale. I think his intention.
No. We still have a court system. That all still has to be fleshed out in court. How would that be putting his finger on the scale? No, absolutely not. This is the thing. I feel like one of the reasons why this is not a federal case and that this is a state case, if you notice the track record, and if you talk to anybody that's ever been involved with federal court much, or the DOJ, they'll tell you, when it comes to percentages, conviction rates, the DOJ has got a much better track record than a lot of these states do. They will not take a case generally unless it is absolutely airtight and they know that it can be won. I have a feeling, and I could be wrong, part of the reason why this hasn't been taken up by the federal government is because they know this case can't be won. Now, again, I may be wrong. I got a feeling they know this case is not going anywhere.
President of the United States. Government interventionism. I maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't, but I was approached to work and do work for a company that is working with the White House, that's working with Sebastian Gorka, and you want to talk about like terrorism or do we have trust in our institutions psychologically? This was with Sebastian Gorka and the director of Cognitive Advantage, and he literally was in a podcast last year saying that the government will exercise social aspects in which they hope to get They basically want to manipulate individuals or groups of people.
Y'all need to pay attention to this. Talk about the, yeah, y'all need to pay attention to this. Let's see. Agraoki, what's up? First time I've seen you here. Again, if you've been here, forgive me, but welcome. This is the best chat on the internet. These people will make you feel more than welcome here. This is an awesome place. Very few people stumble into this chat and don't keep coming back. So we got one rule on this channel, and that is if you drop into the chat, the first time, we welcome you, and then we expect you to be here whenever you can after that, hopefully every time. So welcome.
To act a certain way that's beneficial to the government, not beneficial to the country. And he even caveated that in saying, it's beneficial to the government, but some of these things are beneficial to the country or to the people. And so I hear that, and I hear this cognitive advantage research, and I hear Sebastian Gorka, who's had a slew of issues, and I don't want to go on this whole tirade, but has a slew of issues with about security clearances and what citizen is he truly beholden to of what country is very confusing to me. And I see this company, Vine and Fig Tree, that I was approached to do work for, and when I got access to their...
So she was approached by a third party, a contractor, to do work for the federal government for this specific thing that she is now describing.
documents, because for some reason the third party that put us together never had me sign an NDA, and I posted about all this. I don't have a paywall for it. You can see it yourself. There's a Charlie Kirk report in there, and one of the very first times that I was introduced to the man who was named JP, I never got his last name, that runs Biden Fig Tree, he said repeatedly was that for the projects that I was working on for the White House, they were supposed to look like they weren't coming from the White House, and it was all supposed to be about like foreign knots and collecting information on individuals.
Don't understand how that's relevant. I mean,
I don't understand how that's relevant. So shut up, quit talking. Nobody wants to hear this. Nobody needs to hear this. Please stop.
I'm going to tell you right now, in the Charlie Kirk
Gish galloping. What an idiot. What an idiot. Let her finish, and maybe it is pertinent.
report, they said that individuals are being fooled. That's everything that you were saying is like, this sounds exactly like the VFT report, is that if we have a question, if something doesn't smell right, something doesn't fit right, outside of Candace, like put that aside.
Sure.
If something doesn't feel right,
we should be skeptical of our government.
Then we're being fools of, it was Pakistan, Russia.
But I think it's China, Russia, Iran.
Being skeptical of the government is one thing, but when a third party, contractor tries to put you to work, working directly for the federal government, and what they're wanting you to work on is not only just something that, like I said, yeah, being skeptical of the federal government's one thing, but when she has literally showed proof that the federal government is intentionally, actively trying to sway the beliefs and opinions of the American people via bots on the internet, and with Charlie Kirk specifically, we got a problem, and that's a little bit more than just be wary of the government or be skeptical of the government.
According to the government-aligned entities, it's Pakistan and Russia and Iran. And so when you see that they had said they were responsible for some of the bots that were on Twitter, it's in the reports, and they have said it to me, and again, it is in the reports, that they are exercising and collecting information and trying to beat out Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, anyone that was specific for this Charlie.
You heard right there. And that comes from the federal government. They are trying to beat out Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and all of these large platforms, these huge conservative voices that are going against the narrative. I mean, it's in black and white. It's on paper, in writing.
Kirk report. So I have an issue with that. It just seems very odd that we would, when you talk about allocating resources, instead of the White House, the administration that worked so closely with Charlie, allocating really important resources to ensure that this is a good and right and just trial.
He got little man syndrome like a mofo.
Why were they allocating resources and putting out bots immediately, a month
because
after
we have foreign
the Charlie
enemies that are
Kirk
doing the same
assassination?
thing for sure.
I just don't think that's right. And that's just and I've laid all that stuff out many times. I will defend it. And that's where I stand. I think a lot of people have felt that weird compact nonstop on the internet outside of the big people with the platforms. It's hard to look away from seeing the discrepancies, the behaviors. As a security contractor, hearing Brian Harpole's explanation on certain elements, or throwing caution to the wind for the rooftop, it's just not right. And if you exercise that type of lack of
Cat and Jackass, if you'll just go to YouTube, I don't remember exactly what this is called, but if you just go to YouTube and search for Walk Away, go to that channel, and it'll be right there at the top. It's Brandon Straka's his little movement, whatever. But he's got his own personal YouTube channel, and then he's got his Walk Away channel, and that's what this is hosted by, is the Walk Away on YouTube.
Preparedness for a client, and they knew that, and it doesn't result in an assassination because he had very successful trips prior to that. But I'm sure there were threats elsewhere, maybe even present for some of those trips. It just seems very odd. And so I just
well, I mean, Charlie Kirk wasn't the president, and we can't expect him to have a president.
I don't know, Nikki, and it's hilarious to me. Yes, I've heard he's like 5'6". Some asshole dropped in the chat yesterday when I was joking about it to make sure that everybody knew that he was actually 6'1". I don't care. He could be 7'1" for all I care. That is a little bitty man. He could be 7 foot tall and 400 pounds of solid muscle. That is a little bitty man.
presidential detail. I used to teach literally.
I never said that he should have
Well,
presidential
what I'm
detail.
saying is like what he was paying for was a bodyguard detail, and they are responsible for what they're capable of doing and their capabilities. Now, if TPUSA had determined, you know what, we need to have rooftop coverage, that's probably another 15 grand per site that they're going to.
But that's a
with
drop in the
president-
bucket for Turning Point.
What's that?
That's
That's
15 grand's nothing.
Well, I'm just like.
You realize you're arguing that the shot came from the roof because of
I do think
inadequate
I just for me all the conspiracies I think there was a shot. Was it Tyler Robinson? Maybe with Lance Figgs was radicalized. I just know that Charlie was shot from the people that I've talked to. I could be wrong. We'll find out.
Whether there was a shot taken from the Losi Center roof, and he just automatically, you realize you're arguing that there was a shot, whether there was a shot actually taken from the Losi Center roof or not, if the plan was to have a patsy up on that roof and not take a shot, just be there, if that was the plan and his security team and law enforcement had been competent and or had done their jobs, let's just put it that way, then guess what? The patsy would have never made it up there, thus at least complicating the plan, if not ruining it. So at the end of the day, the fact that the Losi Center roof was left wide open for anybody and their brother is still a problem. Oh no, don't you know you're arguing that it was a shot made? No, that's not the point. The point is they didn't do their freaking jobs.
You're not part of the microphone.
I don't think the microphone exploded on his chest. I use it as microphone. I've been mic'd up by similar
I'm not
people.
part of the palm gun theory.
No, I don't
There
think I don't
are
think so.
actually other weapons that we don't have full command of.
But so this is the absence of evidence is the evidence. There are other stuff. We have no indication it was used, but there was other stuff.
Have you ever shot a 30-06?
I've shot a rifle.
Have you ever shot a 30-06?
I've shot a rifle. What? He just asked you a direct question. Have you ever shot a 30-06? Oh, I've shot a rifle.
The microphone exploded on his chest. I use it as
and
microphone. I've been mic'd up by similar
I'm
people.
not part of the palm gun theory.
No, I don't
There
think I don't
are
think so.
actually other weapons that we don't have full command of.
But so this
actually.
is the absence of evidence is the evidence. There are other stuff. We have no indication it was used, but there was other stuff.
Have you ever shot a 30-06?
I've shot a rifle.
Have you ever shot a 30-06?
I would have to double check what I.
I'll have to double check what I've shot. What a lying asshole. Just not. This is just so bad. So dishonest. I'll have to check and see what I've shot or not. Have you ever shot a damn 30-06 or not? In other words, have you ever shot a freaking, cannon? A civilian version of a cannon?
Which rifle I've shot?
You're laughing. You're laughing.
He's laughing because he knows. And yes, Viva, more than likely, especially your little 5'4" ass would probably remember it if you'd shot a 30-06.
I just posted this the other day.
I've had one my whole life. I've got a ton of guns, and I've got a 30-06, and and I don't even shoot it because I don't like it, and I don't do anything bird hunting or clay targets, whatever. But I've had this gun my whole life. I do not shoot it very often. I know this. I could not fit it down my trousers and walk around a campus with it, and then I could not pull it out with a scope, lay down, take a shot at 160 yards.
There's like a dozen people on YouTube that have done this.
I know.
Okay, that is just stupid. Okay, yeah. Anybody can set up a camera, have everything laid out, ready to go, all good. Okay, everything's in position. Now, we're ready. We know what the sequence of events is that we're about to do here, and so let's make it happen. And then you do it on purpose, intentionally for the camera. Tell me how that's the same as a 22-year-old kid for the first time going onto this campus and knowing that he's about to take someone's life for the first time, and all the nerves and all the trying to be hidden, trying to be smooth and fast and get it done. There is such a it's just a totally different ballpark. It's just stupid.
See, people
There
put
are
it together, but that is
hundreds of
weird.
people on
Gary,
YouTube
that
that
is weird that he took it apart. That's where I'm like, did he take it apart and put it back together? Like that's
There's
to me,
nothing. There's nothing hard about it. Why
there's
wouldn't
two
you do it?
screws or whatever. I know,
What
but
about
it just
sighting in your scope? Are you telling me that's not going to knock the scope off?
So
True.
and I've literally done this. Like you could take the receiver off, the buttstock off,
Yeah.
put it back on, and at 100 yards, you're not going to miss. Without
Okay, so guys, I hate this. It drives me absolutely crazy because I'm all about the legitimate reasons why to taking this gun apart and stuffing it in his pants and getting it up there and putting it back together. Why that doesn't, really jive with reality, and why I don't think that happened. Okay, there's several different reasons, and I just don't believe that happened. That being said, you get a lot of people that don't know much about guns, and then they start going off on the whole, but the scope and zeroing the gun and blah, 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 blah. What is alleged is that the stock was taken off of the barreled receiver the action with a scope mounted on it. To set that scope, you have to have that scope set according to the barrel. All of that stuff is extremely fixed and tight. Once that thing's zeroed, now if you drop it or bump it real hard, maybe yes. But to pull the dadgum stock off of that whole barrel and receiver and scope does not in any way affect where that gun is going to shoot, unless the only thing that might make a difference is if maybe your screw wasn't tight or something and the recoil of the gun maybe possibly caused it to kick around a little bit. As far as the scope goes, once it's set to that receiver and barrel, unless it gets bumped into something or dropped, it's going to still be on. So to me, that's kind of a non-argument. You hear a lot of people that don't know that much about guns saying, well, once you take the thing off, you've got to resight it in. No, not necessarily. I mean, you could take the stock off and get the thing up there as long as you don't drop it on the way and put it right back together, and it'll be just fine at 100 yards. So I don't know. Just thought I'd kind of throw that out there.
Without a doubt.
Well, but Buckley, he did get shot in the neck. It's not like most people are going to go for a neck shot. It might have been an off-centered. After having put it back on, he was going for the torso. Okay. But again, that's what the trial's for. When we're getting into the Egyptian planes, when we're getting into speculation.
Come on, I'm actually really skeptical. You keep bringing up Egyptian planes. Maybe there were, maybe there weren't.
Ex-bootlicker, what's up? Welcome. I don't know if you heard, we got one rule. If you show up in the chat once, we expect you back every time. So hopefully you'll follow the rule. It's good to have you. This is the best, most welcoming chat on the internet. Awesome place to hang out. Hope to see you back. Make sure you're subscribed. Lots of good stuff coming up.
Would we have gone to war with Iran if Charlie Kirk was still alive?
There's one thing about Egyptian planes.
Is it odd that every single, you said you were called a Zionist. Wait, let me finish this point really quickly because it dovetails with what Gabby just said. You said you've been called a Zionist. I guess you've been called a Zionist too. I've got a pretty small account on X, and I've just asked questions. I've never attacked anybody at Turning Point. I've attacked the FBI a few times, and I've attacked the narrative, which to me is obvious bullshit. And every single person I know thinks it's obvious bullshit. So that's it. Nothing really out of the ordinary.
What about the narrative?
Wait, really quickly. Yeah. I have been swarmed to a degree. It was like overwhelming. I'm talking hundreds of tiny little bot accounts and people who are clearly paid. And every single one of them is a Zionist. Every single one of them is pro-war. And they all call me a Jew hater or they call me an anti-Semite. For asking questions about Charlie Kirk's dad, what's the correlation there? They're very well paid to do that. That's obvious. Gabby just demonstrated that she was approached by
Buckley's point, though, I think it's weird because literally Laura Loomer was like, F Charlie Kirk, he's having...
Oh, yeah. Come on. Facts, buddy. Eat. Yep.
Tucker Carlson speak at America Fest. He's an anti-Semite, and then as soon as he dies, Laura Loomer is the biggest Charlie Kirk fan.
Well, the opposite is true too. Like people that hated Charlie Kirk,
well, that's fair.
Ian Carroll, Ryan Mata, I could name.
They didn't hate him. They disagree with him. They
called him a Jew. They called him
Captain Jackass. Well, at least you hit it 3 times. Don't ever hit it twice. Just twice. Because if you hit it twice, it unlikes. So at least you hit it that 3rd time. Guys, just hit it once, real good. Bam.
Like
serving the enemy or something, serving the Zionists.
So, but let's.
Are we really not going to talk about the Hamptons?
But there's a lot of feelings here, and there's a lot of circumstantial things that we can plug in left and right. But like, what evidence does people have that something nefarious occurred outside of the official narrative?
I find it odd that the government was working with the company.
Such an idiot. The problem is there's holes with the official narrative. And for some reason, even with all the public interest and outrage, nobody in a position to officially look into these things gives 2 shits. Okay? So what you're calling evidence, actual official things listed in court documents, is never going to exist until somebody official looks into this. And guess what? So we'll always get Gary hollering evidence.
That made bots
we're probably never going to see the evidence because for this to have been performed as it was, it's going to require a state actor, at least one, probably 2. Okay. It's going to require the complicity of the U.S. government, obviously. So are we ever going to have evidence?
Let's say that's true. Let's say that's true.
But let me just finish my point really quickly, because no one's ever mentioned it beyond you being accused of a Zionist, me being accused as a Jew hater, just because I'm simply questioning the narrative. Charlie was under a tremendous amount of pressure. Charlie was, as you said, David, very influential with the younger Americans. There is a split between younger Americans and boomers on Israel, on Israel's influence in America. and how much they wield. It is overwhelming. Younger Americans are saying, enough of this nonsense. Let's focus on America and America's many problems. Let's not go to war for another country. Let's not be influenced by Israel. That is definite. Charlie had a huge amount of influence among those people. He'd been a well-documented Zionist for his entire career. Then he started having legitimate questions that he expressed to all sorts of people. But it's really fucking important. Excuse my language. No.
And that's real fucking important. Excuse my language.
Then weeks before he died, he gets pulled into a struggle session at Bill Ackman's house with Josh Hammer, with Seth Dillon, and all these other people who were aggressive Zionists.
What's up, Amy? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, you're definitely going to have to back this one up, especially if you haven't seen this little roundtable discussion. It is, wow. I can't even describe it. You're definitely going to have to back it up, though.
Pro-war Zionists. Bibi gets called, they offer him money, or they don't.
Yep.
Charlie turns it down. You're dismissing it as if it's not important.
No,
but
I'm saying it's not evidence. It's so
important that you didn't even mention it when you're mentioning all these other foreign actors.
Because it's
You
not
don't even
evidence of an
mention
act.
Israel.
It's not evidence of an act.
Well, I will say this.
You don't need an evidence. It's
so let's
Wait,
evidence. Let's
wait,
grant.
hold on a
I don't
second.
So hold on, let's grant all that. Let's say that the United States was complicit in, I guess, them, the French Foreign Legion, and
Mossad. So they do work together.
They all work together.
I'm just saying it's hugely relevant. How could
it's
it not
relevant,
be?
but also
And
it's
then our
relevant.
country.
You see what they do? What they do? Him specifically, and the French Foreign Legion and the Egyptians, and they throw all of that in with the one valid, definite, entity that would have motive. It throws all the rest of that in there just to make it sound crazy. Totally dishonest. I'm telling you, he's a lying son of a bitch.
It's not going into
relevant.
America
It would be
destroying-
relevant to intent and potential motive. Thank you.
He literally has
now. Do you have
thousands
any evidence of an
death threats by
actual
the
act?
left. Literally thousands.
Like,
Yeah,
any
he
evidence
was,
of an
he was
actual
murdered
act?
in public.
What was Tyler
He
Robinson's
was
murder?
murdered in public.
Real quick.
That's a fact.
And then shortly thereafter, Donald Trump betrayed his base, betrayed his country, betrayed what he'd
Do you
said
have
for
any
over a
evidence
decade,
of an act
and
of an
took us to war
Israeli
in
act
Iraq.
or any
So
other
I think that's pretty
We
We don't have
evidence.
any evidence.
No, that's not evidence of an act.
Viva,
That's
we don't
who
have.
took the
Real
shots.
quick. Just
That's
Viva.
evidence of a consequence. Hold on. It's evidence of a consequence.
Hey, I got a BB gun rifle.
Following
what
from
you
an
want.
action.
It's pretty
It's not
clear.
evidence of. Do you have any evidence that any member of the Israeli government, intelligence, had any role to play in this shooting?
No, but it was weird how Benjamin Netanyahu came out there immediately and said, I had nothing to do with that. He was very.
Look, and you know what? Gary Melton and all the others, they always say, no, there's nothing strange about that. What's wrong with that? Alex Stein, again, intellectually honest. I got to give him that.
He does protest too much, but I will ask you this, and I'm saying this defending. I'm basically on your side. I
What's up,
agree with
J.C.
you
Myers?
90%. But when a detective goes to a crime scene, the first thing they look for a suspect is motive. What was
Needs
Tyler Robinson's
opportunity.
motive?
Well, he said it. He actually confessed it. He has 11 different confessions. He talked about
11 different confessions. Yeah. He's about to tell you about how he confessed to his parents.
No, but it's amazing. You said, like, okay, well, Charlie was turning on Israel and he would have swayed an entire generation of young conservatives. He had turned on the trans community already.
He had turned on the trans community already. What the fuck is he talking about? When was he ever trans, or when was he ever a trans advocate? He had turned on the trans community? And this is the whole issue. If he had never been a Zionist, and if he had never been carrying the water, changing his position probably wouldn't have been an issue. He probably never would have been in the powerful position he was in. I hate to say it, but it's the case. The problem is the actual change of his stance, his beliefs, and what he says. When was Charlie ever advocating for trans? Never. That's a stupid, asinine statement. And I'm sorry, you're an attorney. You have to have a little intellect up there. So I'm just going to go out and say again, you're a dishonest person. You're lying.
So by your own rationale, the same logic applies equally to both.
Which
The
is a
only difference-
multi-billion-dollar
hold on.
industry.
The only difference is there's evidence of an act when it comes to Tyler and Lance Twigg.
And I'll give you evidence that the U.S. wasn't involved or Israel wasn't involved. And here it is. Because if first of all, if they're like, all right, we're going to have this.
Here we go, guys. I'm telling you right now, it may take just a second to get here, but this one's good. Trust me, this one is going to get good. I heard this part.
Extremely sophisticated, multi-agency, multinational conspiracy. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a guy up there. He's going to shoot from a different direction. We're going to have a patsy. I don't know if we're saying that's Tyler Robinson or not. And, they get done. It was so, with 3,000 people We never saw anything. We don't have him on camera. They got away with it clean.
Wait, but we
And
just
then-
talked
and then-
about
hold
this
on,
whole
hold on.
stuff.
So then they take off and like, hey, good job, we did it. Oh, by the way, what'd you shoot it with? 223. What would we give the patsy? A 30-06. Oh, dude. And here's another one.
Okay, for starters, they're known for doing this. They're known for doing the wrong gun. Anybody in here remember all the details of the JFK assassination? One of those was the fact that, guess what? At some point, it was the wrong gun, was it not? Guys, anybody in the chat remember it well enough to back me up on that? Also, MLK, wrong gun. They sent him to go buy a gun, and he come back, I believe, with a 223 caliber. And this is according to Joe Brown, one of the judges that presided over this. Said that he sent him after a gun. He come back with a 223. And he's like, no, that's wrong. And so he goes and gets it. He brings it back. It's still wrong because, best I remember, the way the sling mounts on it was different than the gun that I don't remember the exact details of it. But again, wrong gun with MLK. So this is the way it goes. This is just they're known for it.
The easiest element of this to fabricate. Please explain to me if this was a big conspiracy, why was it fabricated? Is like the ballistics report.
Here we go.
Like how hard would it be to fake just a bullet? Like, yep, it matches, but that's not what they did. They have pieces of a bullet and they're like, hey, it's inconclusive. They could have shot around through that rifle, recovered it, put it in there, but all of this tapestry, everything that they did that was so sophisticated and took so much work and
He just admitted it. That bullet that they're saying is the bullet that they dug out of Charlie that was fired from that gun, the one that's actually, like you said, inconclusive. But that bullet, I've said this before, didn't necessarily have to come out of Charlie. And it didn't have to necessarily get into Charlie if it did come out of Charlie by conventional means. It's really easy to go shoot something, deer, whatever, and then go in there and dig that bitch out, clean it up real good, make sure there's no DNA left on it. And guess what you've got? You've got a clean, broke up, expanded 30-06 bullet ready to go whenever you need it. And of course, the fragments also. He just admitted it. He just said it.
so many people involved. The one thing they messed up was the wrong rifle, and by the way, they didn't fake the bullet.
You know, this is fair, but I will say this is kind of the premise of what we were talking about when we were talking about conspiracy theories in general and compartmentalization. Like, not everyone knows what piece they are in the puzzle. If this was a bad faith actor or bad faith actors, they don't get the full sight picture. They're just a piece. So they may think that they're complicit in one thing, but really they were part of another piece to what happened to Charlie. That is totally fair.
The amount of speculation this requires.
Connected to other people.
It could be anything. He could have thought that he actually shot him, but maybe didn't. Like, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying it can or it can't. That's a possibility either which way.
If you are untethered from rules of
I
evidence.
think that's a fine question to ask. But you said, what was the point of, or have I seen any evidence of any other state actors? Well, VFT was made up of individuals from the IDF working with, again, the White House. And one of the first things they did was say that Charlie fell for the op when it came to his stance on Israel changing, and then made bot accounts trying to overflood social media for people to not buy into, hey, maybe there was something about that. Maybe there was a funky, maybe there wasn't, but why is the White House interested?
Let me make
why are
this
they
point.
supporting
I just wanna make this point. I think we probably need to wrap this up. I think we're almost at like kind of a standstill, but I will say this. This is what I'm worried about. And I understand people are like, oh, candidates are going to taint the jury. But I'm even worse. I'm even worried about a worse outcome. It's not even that the jury's going to be tainted. That somehow Tyler Robinson is found innocent, like OJ was.
This is what bothers me. Now, maybe he didn't mean this like it came out, but this is no good. That somehow Tyler is found not guilty. If Tyler is not guilty and there is a cover-up going on, Tyler needs to be found not guilty. So it doesn't have to be Tyler Robinson. What I would have said in his position is that Tyler is found not guilty and no one else ever is. No one else is ever investigated and brought to justice. And then we have just an open-ended, that will be a problem. But you can't say that since Tyler is accused and Tyler's in custody, that Tyler has to be the one.
Innocent, because they want this, just like how Trump, I think majority of us would say that he won the 2020 election, right? Yeah. And the majority of us would think that Tyler Robinson is guilty of it. And then all of a sudden he gets not guilty. And then what that's going to do is that's going to radicalize conservatives. So this could be like a bigger thing.
What will radicalize conservatives is if he's found not guilty and then the ones that we pay and elect to do the job don't do their fucking job and don't go find the ones that actually did this. That's what will radicalize people.
Bigger than Mossad. It could be, I don't know. I'm not just trying to, I know this is just conspiratorial, but I'm very worried about that. And that's why I'm frustrated that the FBI, and this is not a federal case, because a federal case, if it was, 99%, when you go to a federal trial, you're guilty. If you go there, you're toast. You're not going to win. But in a state level, there is a possibility. There's Candace, and there's this, and there's that. And if he was...
What's up, Pam? First time here? If it's your first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. You stumbled into the best chat on the internet, I can promise you. Please make sure you're subscribed. We've always got something good going on. Got lots of good stuff coming up in the future. Yep. Please make sure you're subscribed and hit that like button too.
Somehow found not guilty, and if we don't ever have a justice in the situation, that's going to radicalize a lot of young people. That's going to be the worst outcome, and I'm worried about that.
That's going to happen either way, and that's honestly my biggest concern. And I'm so glad you brought up OJ earlier, because this is probably in my lifetime the next example since OJ where a crime has become a team sport, and this is very much a.
Rod, I know this was back a couple minutes ago, but anyway, what's up, buddy? Did I say something wrong, or did I say something confusing? Clarify for me, buddy.
Team sport. I personally think it's sort of insane that people are this invested in it before we've gotten to the trial. It'd be one thing if we got to the trial and people are upset at the outcome, but people have already made up their minds before the trial. So whether you found guilty or not guilty, one group of people I think already has been radicalized. And this is something that we're never going to get over ever, because one group of people is going to permanently have a negative reaction to this, and it's never going to die. It's never going to go away.
And that's probably why Charlie is dead today. You know
Well,
what I
and
mean?
the responsible thing to do, I think there should be some people that are adults in rooms and say all the things that we said. Like, look, you can't just, every time that there's a gap of information, it doesn't make sense to just use your imagination and fill it with what things are possible. And by the way, put a lot of people at risk and harm because you're accusing them. And so it's like, hey, we should wait for the information to come out.
What's up, Michelle Lake? Are we talking about Cleveland, Tennessee, or Cleveland, Ohio? If you're Cleveland, Tennessee, that's cool, because I'm a Tennessean myself.
That's the
If this is your first time here, welcome, welcome. Please make sure you're subscribed. Good community here, and lots of good stuff going on.
responsible thing to do. And then also, if you are going to conduct a crowdsourced investigation, well, there's some basic steps that you would take to do that. If you were being rational and you were acting in good faith, I don't know, you go there. You actually go there, you interview people. We've never seen interviews of multiple people on Candace's show.
It's not about Candace.
This is not about
Candace. Look, wait, does Candace have more influence with the potential jury than the President of the United States, the Vice President, the U.S. Senator?
She has access to a lot of resources where she could bring people.
Awesome, Karma. Good deal. Good deal. I'm glad you stumbled upon us. We've just got one rule for the channel. If you randomly pop into the chat one time, we expect you to show up from here on out when you can. So please follow that one rule, and we'll be looking for you. This is the greatest chat on the internet, I can promise you. Awesome community. And we got John D in the house also. John D, have you been here before, or is this your first time? If you've been here before, I apologize. I will catch on, I promise. If not, welcome.
In and talk. I've had lawyers on my show that are defense lawyers. Let's go through this. Could this be fabricated? Tell me what's impeach the case that they have.
What's up, Brandon? Brandon Ray, first time in the chat also. If not, again, I apologize. Make sure you subscribe. We got lots of good stuff coming up. Clint Russell on Escobar, Rio Gates. We've had Billy Webb on. She should be coming on pretty soon. John Bray once a month. He'll be on in the next week or so. Always got something good going on. So make sure you subscribe and notification bell on.
She's never done that. She's withheld information time and time again. She's pushed crazy conspiracy theories that undermine the truth of this, that damage people, that sit there here that yep, the French did it, or the U.S. government did it, or they had this thing at Fort Huachuca where they planned his murder. My God, now we're implicating
she never said they
military. We're implicating U.S.
Exactly. Thank you. No, she never said they planned his murder. That's right. Thank you.
Men and women without any evidence saying that they're involved with the assassination. A conventional forces unit is going to conduct the clandestine operation where we're going to assassinate a U.S. citizen on U.S. soil. This is now the reality that people live in.
Said all that.
All them fighting words, roll tide. Come on now. I'm just kidding. We're close to Florence, so I'm about an hour from Florence. There's lots of Roll Tide fans around here.
Well,
I'm not here to defend Candace.
And I don't think it's fair.
Yeah, that's right. Stumble fee $50. If you stumble in, you got to pay $50. Yeah, that's right. Oh, you are a streamer? Well, make sure you give me a subscribe, and then I'll go and subscribe to you, and I'll check you out. Hell, you never know. Maybe we can do something one day.
for us to go full send on her when she's not sitting here. We've addressed her multiple times.
I think just generally speaking, there's a responsible way to do this.
Gary, how about this though? Isn't it weird that Donald Trump picked up the phone when Candace is getting sued by Brigitte Marcon, but Candace has never come on our podcast and said, well, Donald Trump's called me and told me to shut up about
I
Charlie
don't
Kirk.
think Donald Trump should have done that.
I'm saying I think Donald Trump should be getting involved. I don't think Donald Trump would be president without Charlie Kirk. So I guess my frustration is that Candace can be her own separate thing. She can be on an island, but I think they could be using her as a pawn to divide us because that's really at the end of the day. I'm saying that's a conspiracy. They want us fighting each other like this, right? And then it ruins a movement.
Here's the problem. Candace Owens comes out with all this crazy stuff. I completely agree about it.
Oh, finally, Harrison Smith speaks.
Different planes and whatever else.
The one that originally said that he was told, by somebody that would know if Charlie did the wrong thing, that what would happen.
And now, if you have any questions about the official story,
Yeah,
people like Gary get to say, "Oh, so now it's an exploding microphone," and you bring up all this stuff, and it's like,
No, that's the fact.
Which is redolent of JFK and flooding the zone.
That's literally the conspiracy theory was created after JFK to demonize people that are looking
we
at the
also
official story.
appreciate that there are operations to muddy the waters specifically so that you can't have a meaningful discourse. I mean,
Of course, that's probably what's happening now.
Much like and people don't like the analogy, but and you had people, it gives people the moral authority to then say, I no longer need to entertain any of your meaningful discussion. Now, when it comes to filling in the blanks, if there's a shred of evidence to support it, there's nothing that should be off the table. But you don't get to fill in the blanks with, it must be Israel because they would have motive, they would benefit from it, but I have zero evidence of any act.
I didn't say it must be Israel.
But people, when people came
We
up
can't
with
not discuss Israel.
Well,
Gary mentioned 4 different countries, none of whom were Israel.
but
I think Israel's pretty relevant.
you can discuss Israel in terms of hypothetical possibilities based on motive until there's concrete evidence of an act. And that would, the questions that I still have are the same ones I had from the beginning. Who was in those Discord chats? Who radicalized Taylor Robinson? Was there a domestic element in there?
Yes, sir.
Were those chats authentic?
I don't believe. Well, that'll come out of trial. That'll come out of trial.
Yes.
No, but that will come out of trial. When you present the evidence, you have to show the history of it. But I don't believe the FBI when they say, yeah, we've investigated everybody in the Discord.
Whoa, Miss Susan, when'd you get here? Good to see you, Miss Susan. Got the original hall monitor in the house. Good to see you. We're just wrapping up, Miss Susan. I apologize, but I know you'll go back and be that rewatch crew. Hey, speaking of which, y'all guys, I got my merch store up. Y'all need to go check out the gear. Got t-shirts. I got men's t-shirts, ladies t-shirts. I got ladies long sleeves. I need to get some men's long sleeves in there. Got one style of hat right now. Got coffee mugs. I've got the regular logo on t-shirts, and I've also got the Be Kind, Rewind, Rewatch crew shirts, and I've also got a Be Kind, Rewind, Rewatch mug, along with, of course, the regular logo mug. So I think they're priced right. So definitely, if you'd like to support in that way, go check out the merch, and we'll be adding more stuff to that very, very soon. I'm gonna leave it like it is for a minute and see what happens with it. But hopefully a bunch of you guys will go in there and see some stuff you like. So Crocs, no, I don't have Crocs. I can look into that though.
Chats, and there was nothing bizarre going on there. And George Zinn just happens to be there, happens to take credit for the shooting.
That was so bizarre.
Just happens to have Trump on his phone.
So it can't end.
But you understand what has happened now as a result of the tangents of baseless accusations. We don't even address those questions anymore.
Oh, I think we're still addressing them. I still think that's very reasonable.
Harrison has
on all of us.
What Harrison?
In all honesty, if let's just say we go back in time, we have a spectroscope, we can see exactly what happened, all the details, everything. Yeah. If Israel was directly involved, not with an exploding microphone, but it's just whoever shot the shot was an Israeli agent, he hopped on a plane 5 minutes later out of Orem and shot off, never to be seen again. What evidence do you think the American government would provide to the American people about that?
What evidence would they provide? I mean, the argument's going to be they probably would not provide any.
They would cover that.
That's what I'm asking. I'm saying like.
And I appreciate what you're saying. It's like, well, I could anticipate that they would go out of their way to conceal that because it might lead to an annihilation of a country. Okay, but by the way, there's more evidence of that having happened during the Las Vegas shooting than there is during Trump.
That's a perfect example. The Las Vegas is what was the motive there. That was a whole weird thing that happened during Trump.
But it's just another aspect of the failure of our leadership in our country to gain any trust with the American people.
Nobody trusts them. So the FBI comes out and says we've investigated the Discord chats. Who believes them? No one's going to raise their hand here.
But it also means that if Israel was involved, we would never know about it. So therefore, an absence of evidence is not really a absence because it's assumed that even if it was Israel, we would never hear about it. So nobody it was Israel's side is expecting there to be any evidence because it would be the understanding that the American government would be.
Well, you would have to believe that in spite of a lot of other evidence. It's one thing to believe faith is believing something without evidence. The problem with the conspiracy side is they believe something in spite of evidence against it, and there is evidence against that because.
The problem is the evidence has holes in it and appears, blatantly to be fabricated and or just not credible. That's the problem, Gary. If you want to call it evidence, call it evidence.
We do have evidence of Tyler Robinson. We're going to see his cell phone. We're going to see where he was. We're going to see that Lance Twiggs was sending messages back where he was while all this stuff was going on.
We're going to see clear video of him taking the shot.
What's that?
We're going to see clear video of him
We don't
taking
need
the
any
shot.
video.
But let's
Well, like,
but guys,
let's
say
go
this: the
away.
government is sophisticated enough. If this was Mossad and CIA,
Exactly, Kerry. And guess what? He's sitting here in this little panel here, walking back everything. I mean, come on. Why ain't you talking about that?
they would work hand in
need
hand.
video
So I'm saying
on camera,
Israel and
et
America.
cetera.
So they're so sophisticated that they would get the bullet wrong.
Yes, I said
I'm
what I
just
said
saying they're
earlier
so
is that's
sophisticated.
compartmentalized, not.
I'm not saying that. I'm
You can't
just
have
saying
every
that
individual
we know that it's
controlling every-
possible that they could do that. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
And the slightest shred of evidence are three very different things. If you want to find the Israeli connection, where you're probably going to find more of a foreign nexus is whoever was in those Discord chats, whoever was LARPing as a whatever. But we don't get to go.
Lilith, I do too. I've always liked Harrison Smith. I just don't understand his approach to this case in particular. Totally just, I mean, anti-Candace is one way of putting it, which I'm not no huge Candace simp or fan, but I mean, like, he's been pretty ugly to her. And, he's been walking back the whole comments he made about what would happen if Charlie turned his back on him. So I don't know. I do like Harrison Smith. I really do. But I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on with him when it comes to this.
There now, because unfortunately the
But,
discussion, the entire
Viva, if you believe that there's
there's
somebody in the Discord chat radicalizing him, then I think that you could also believe that there would be.
Lilith, welcome. If you've been here before, I apologize. If it's your first time, make sure you subscribe because, we got that one rule. You show up once, we look for you every other time. So hopefully we'll be seeing you around more.
Another person to make sure that, let's say he was radicalized, but that they actually took out Charlie, right? So,
Yeah,
if, you,
but-
so if you believe that there could be an
except-
FBI radicalizing
except
him or
one is
Mossad
based-
radicalizing
one
him,
is
you
based-
could believe that Mossad would take the shot as well, right?
Except one is based on evidence as we currently understand it. There were
understand that.
Discord
I
chats,
understand that.
and the other one is pure
And his
fabrication.
parents turned him in. He confessed. Look, in the charging documents, it clearly states that Tyler Robinson confessed to his parents, and he gave a very
Clearly states that Tyler Robinson confessed to his parents. What I remember saying is that he was confronted, and when confronted, that Tyler indicated that it was him that had done that. Okay, yeah. That's some confession, Gary.
definitive statements that he did it. Like the first thing that the defense would have done would have been like, hey, let's talk about these statements. If they didn't bring the parents on to impeach that, they would at least brought in the officer that took down the statements. Did Tyler Robinson say to his parents X, Y, and Z?
Thank you, Lilith. After I said that, I got to thinking it seemed like I'd seen you in here before. So thank you. Thank you for the support. Thank you very much.
And
Well, couldn't you also make the exact same argument that they would want to save that for trial?
No, but you don't want to get to a trial which carries a possible death penalty.
Yeah.
If you can attack probable cause by saying he never confessed to his parents, and here's his mother saying he never confessed to her, you do that at the probable cause. You don't say we'll go to trial that has a potential death penalty and take our chances there. And by the way, when I asked the question,
The way I understand it, they were not able to do that because the the prosecution didn't call the parents, and the prosecution only had a hearsay statement, basically written by Brian. No official statement from the parents, which I don't think exists. So the way I understand it, and I could be misunderstanding it, and the way Barron's explained it, I don't really think they could. I don't think they could call the parents to counter that, because that was not actually one of the main, that wasn't one of the main points. Again, they didn't even have a signed statement, an official statement from the parents. All they had was Brian Davis's report that claimed that he indicated to his parents that he had done it.
and I got the most outlandish, idiotic answer, why didn't the defense call the parents if he didn't actually confess to the parents and they weren't the ones who actually turned them in? The answer I got was, because I suspect that the parents might have been asked if he confessed to committing other crimes, and the answer would have been yes. I mean, that's idiotic.
Yeah.
It's idiotic.
Who gave you that answer?
One of the analysts who's out there spreading disinformation that requires me to come on and say, legally that makes no sense. And so then, well, Viva's grifting off this too. Hell no. I would have been covering this like any other legal proceeding just to make sure people understood the difference between a preliminary hearing and a trial, and not having to debunk the receipt from Panguitch, which we're still waiting for that
Never been debunked.
tangent to be disproven or for them to apologize for the disinformation.
Matter of fact, there's more fixing to come out on that.
But the reality is, anything's possible. And until you have the slightest shred of evidence to substantiate it, you are operating in pure hypothetical conjecture.
But a receipt from the restaurant is not evidence. Not until it's officially accepted and winds up in a document in court. Until that point, it's not evidence. So this is why this is such a stupid argument.
Well,
And it's good, do it. But don't pretend you're just
About
asking
Joe
questions.
Penn saying on record several times.
Guys, I hate to do it. There's just a little bit left, but I'm going to have to go to work. Look, go look it up and watch it through without my interruptions. Y'all might be able to catch something else that I didn't. I'm sure there's plenty more there. But go watch it and on the Walkaway channel and catch that last few minutes. Like I said, I hate to do it, but I've got to go to work. So it was awesome hanging out with y'all guys. I really appreciate it. Let me go up here and say Pam Armstrong, new member. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you very much, Miss Pam Armstrong. And again, thank you for the 10 jewels, Miss Pam Armstrong. Very generous. I really appreciate that. We got Jay Boogie, $10 super sticker. Thank you very much, Jay Boogie. Always a pleasure to have you in the chat and hear your thoughts on these things. So, yes, thank you very much for the generous super chat. And we got Amy with 10 jewels. Thank you, Miss Amy. Good to see you in here again. And thank you for the jewels. But yeah, bad as I hate to, I'm going to have to go. So I'm going to get out of here. Y'all, unless something else crazy comes up or something that I've forgotten about, let's plan on, we're going to go over some Barron stuff again. And we'll finish up the Jimmy Dore thing too tomorrow evening if y'all want to. I think that'll be a good time. So anyway, be back here tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Thank you for all the new members. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Please make sure your notifications on, and hopefully y'all can all come back. I just lost my camera, guys. I'm getting out of here. Hope to see each and every one of you back right here real soon. Thank y'all.
When the facts get twisted and the lies